1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. $30 remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
My summer is going to be ruined. They're going to put a pin in my right pinky, so I'm not going to be able to do anything for about 4 weeks.
Do you think you could live stream your pinky surgery?
Does anyone know? Am I unconscious for that?
No, that's a local anesthesia. When I got my wisdom teeth, I was actually living in New York City. Usually you're supposed to have someone come meet you at the doctor's office once you're under general anesthesia.
I like where this is going.
Yes, but I was alone. I didn't have anyone to come, so they were like, oh, we'll just get you a taxi cab. And I don't know what I told the guy about where I lived, but all of a sudden, I'm seeing the numbers getting higher and higher and higher. I lived all the way downtown. They had to go all the way around, and he dropped me off. I had him drop me off at a supermarket, and I bought God knows what.
Ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream.
That sounds like a good time.
La-di-da.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome into the show. Hope you're having a fantastic, what is it, Wednesday? Wednesday, it's Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Yeah, sure.
It's a weird week because it's Memorial Day, so it feels like a Tuesday, but it's a Wednesday.
Isn't that odd? We're across the country on CBS Sports Radio. You want to watch the show, you can do it. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And Perloff, if you just listen to the SEC coaches like Saban and Kirby Smart and Eli Drinkwitz and these guys at the SEC spring meetings, if you just listen to those guys, you would think that college football is in dire straits. I forgot when the whole sport was teetering on the brink of complete destruction. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm watching games with higher ratings than ever. I'm watching compelling matchups. You've got intrigue. The way these coaches talk, it's like if we don't act right now, all of a sudden, college football that we know and love is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. Like, this is the worst system we've ever had. Newsflash, it's not.
Yeah.
The young men and women in college sports, they're getting paid now.
Right.
They can transfer if they want to once without a penalty. It's not exactly a free-for-all, even though it feels like it a little bit. And they got a little bit more power, and the coaches are losing their mind. They can't stand it. Find me the fan. The fan, not the coach who's making millions, not the athletic director who's making millions. Find me the fan who really has a problem with college football right now. I bet they don't exist.
Probably not, but this is not what's going on there. This is, they're all, who do they all look up to? Who's the godfather of this group? Nick Saban.
Yeah.
What is Nick Saban's number one play in his playbook? Whine about everything and then secretly do it behind the scenes.
Sure.
So I think they're being more utilitarian. I think they're all, for them, okay, I understand what you're saying about the state of college football, but every one of them is doing what's best for them, right? Can you understand where they're coming from at least? This is bad for them. This is all not good for the SEC coaches.
I thought this was supposed to be about the student athletes. I thought this was supposed to be about the players. It's not supposed to be about the coaches. The coaches will always adjust. They will.
But can the SEC coaches adjust to this? I don't think they can.
They're a bunch of whiners. And
they're whining, but they're for a purpose.
Okay, but is it because the sport is really hurting? Like, that's my question. Okay, it's different. Change is hard for all of us.
Yeah.
I get that. No one wants to give up any power. I understand it.
Right.
But is the sport suffering? See, like, that's where this sky is falling kind of rhetoric just doesn't match the reality.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Will the SEC maintain its hold on power over the next 10 years?
They're only going to get more.
Well, I think less.
Okay, explain why.
Well, NIL and transfer portal. So if you're a second stringer at Georgia, you need to play to get your NIL money. So you're going to leave, and then you're going to get TCUs in the Final Four.
Okay, but Georgia was still the champion. They beat the doors off of TCU.
For right now, but that's not going to... Kirby is talking all cocky. He's going to be Saban in 3 years. Georgia's going to lose. The old world order has been destroyed. So that's what these coaches are lamenting. Of course, they're not interested in the overall college football. They're interested in... I think the SEC is going to lose more power because the transfer portal... I mean, we've seen it. Deion Sanders all of a sudden threw a lightning bolt at the SEC, said, hey, I'm going to buy players over here. So they have this great system going, and it's going away. So like Nick Saban, they're whining about it, right? But that's, I'm not defending them.
Do you think college football is broken? Like, do you have a problem with the system now? Yes, a bit of the Wild West with NIL, but do you have a problem with it?
I do.
Okay, what's the problem?
But it's different from what the coaches are saying.
Okay, what's your problem?
I watch a game. And this has killed me. There's a Dr. Pepper ad, followed by a Geico ad, followed by a Microsoft ad, followed by a Google ad.
Right.
Those are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, to the network.
To the schools.
And to the networks, though, the TV networks. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, who signed these massive deals? So much more of that should be going to the players. I think the sport's totally broken. I don't think the coaches should be getting paid so much. I think more money should be going to the players. I think they should just... I think the players are way undervalued because they are providing this incredible TV program that, I know they're getting NIL money, but there should be even more money coming towards them. Don't you ever think that when you're watching the college football championship, who's getting this $1 billion from this Google ad?
Listen, I think about that with the college athletes. I think about that when I watch LeBron James. I mean, you could say everyone could be underpaid, these stars.
But at least LeBron's he's a billionaire.
No, I get it. But if there was not a salary cap and he was in his prime, he would not be able. He can max out. Steph Curry can make $60 million, but that's all he can make. What's Steph Curry really worth? Probably more than that. That's not the part of it that bothers me.
You don't think they should be getting paid even more?
Oh, I think the college kids should be getting paid even more. The college athletes. I got to stop calling them kids. The college athletes should be paid more, but they're getting paid something, and the best players generally are getting paid the most, which is like how the world works. So I don't have as much of a problem with that. And to me, it has not, I don't feel like college football is, the Titanic heading towards this iceberg. To me, it's going to always ebb and flow and change, and the product is still very good. I like a little bit of parity. And guess what? When this goes to 12 teams with the college football playoff, you're going to get even a couple more kind of, I don't want to say random teams, but you're going to get a little bit more of a representation. You're also going to get more SEC schools in.
I agree with that. You're going to, first of all, I think other conferences are going to do much better in the 12. And I think transfer portal is going to hurt the SEC. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You already see Alabama doesn't have the depth that they used to have because all their guys, if you're not playing, you're leaving.
Right.
I think you're being naive about how radical the change is going on right now. And I'm not saying the coaches are right. I think you're going to have, I think this can't last like this. This NIL is a Band-Aid on a much bigger problem because you're going to have Saban's right. I mean, it's going to be an NFL. You have to have a pro league. You're going to have a union. You're going to have a salary cap. You're going to have a fair schedule. This is just the beginning. I understand what you're saying. No, of course college football is not broken, but guess what? It's about to change radically. But you can't start with NIL and then not expect it to go full pro. How is it? You're just being half.
You're half.
You're half.
You're half. You're only giving the endorsement deal without giving any of the salary, if you will.
Right. And also, too, just you're seeing what the coaches are whining about, and I agree, they're totally whining.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just the beginning. This scheduling thing, you're going to have a much more pro-like college football in 10 years. Okay,
let's hear from Saban. This is not the most egregious, but here's what Saban is saying should happen.
Unionize it, make it like the NFL. I mean, if it's going to be the same for everyone, I think that's better than what we have now. Everything they do in the NFL is to create what? Parity. So, and if they could have everybody going into the 17th week of the season at 8-8, that would be like a dream for the NFL.
Okay, he's right about that, right? The parity and the, unionizing and all of the things that the NFL has does help to create parity. Another thing that helps create parity in the NFL and the NBA is the draft. the college is never going to have that. It's going to be you can sign with whoever. So you're never going to get this real parity that you want because the best players are always going to sign with a few different teams.
Well, what if there's a salary cap where best players will chase the money, so therefore can spread out the number of teams?
Okay, but now you're really talking about like hitting the destruct button on college football and college sports.
I think it's happening. I think Deion hit that destruct button.
Okay, but it's still so Deion Sanders though is still like a one-of-one person.
No.
He's one of the greatest players in the history of the NFL and one of the greatest personalities in the history of the NFL. He's got not just the money from Colorado, which I don't even know how much money Colorado even has. It's a cult of personality as well with Deion, where people and players want to go there because they think he'll get me ready for the NFL.
I don't agree with that. I think players will always chase money. I think if you make it an open marketplace and Miami Hurricanes say we're going to outspend everyone.
They are. They just made the Final Four.
Right. Well, you're right. They're trying in football. I think eventually that's going to result in a championship. I mean, Deion's great, and he is a cult of personality, but if the money is more at another school, they're going to go there. They just think, people right now think that there's money where Deion is.
Yeah, see, it's funny because don't you remember when Deion took the job at Colorado? Even he said, like, they still need to figure out how they were going to pay Deion, let alone pay these 70-plus guys who have transferred.
Well, yeah, but then Deion attracts some money, right? Like, sponsors be like, Deion's there, so that does give him an advantage. But I think overall, eventually the market will make this all work, right? So it's all going to be pro. And the salary cap is going to fix that parity. And you know why Saban thinks he can do this, by the way? First of all, I think he's lying. But he thinks, I can hire a better coaching staff than anyone and give me the same team and I will beat everybody else. I don't think that's true.
He could hire the best coaching staff right now. That's not part of the salary
cap. Right, but he's losing all his players to Texas A&M and other places right now where he never had that problem before.
I mean, losing all of his players. He had the Heisman Trophy winner 2 years ago. He, is still top 2 in odds to win the title. Who are all these players he's losing?
Well, he lost that defensive end to A&M and it freaked him out.
Okay, he lost one guy. Oh, my goodness.
Apparently, this guy is not, he's like that character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High who just destroyed the entire game. Yeah. What's his name? Highwater or something? Anyway,
it was Forrest Whitaker was the actor.
But what do you think, real quick before we take a call?
Yeah.
Do you agree, so you disagree with Saban about the NFL model, or do you agree with that?
I think we have a long way to go before we're getting there.
Why?
To get to the NFL model. Because, first of all, maybe the students can unionize or the athletes can unionize. That would be one thing. You don't even have a uniform NIL policy in this country. It's all state by state by state. Are you really going to be able to get all Division I college football on the same page about a salary structure?
I mean, all you need is the 5 conferences and maybe 4 conferences. So you have 4 conferences. Is that hard for 4 conference commissioners to get together and create a league?
I mean, they can barely decide. They can't agree on anything.
That's true.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, got a lot to get to today, but we start off with college football because this one just, I didn't understand. I'm like, how is the sky falling on college football? I'm sorry. Charlie is in Vancouver, Washington. We're hitting the phones early here. Charlie, how you doing, dude?
Great. You got me when you said there's nobody out there who doesn't like the model the way it is. I think people are going to discover in a couple of years, because of how NIL is going to be so different from school to school and league to league, everybody's going to be transferring to the biggest, whoever they find out is the biggest money, and we know that's all the SEC, they're all going to go there. What I haven't liked about college, I know I'm old man on the lawn guy, get off my lawn, but what I haven't liked about college basketball over the last 30 years is players, they leave early. You don't know who's playing nobody plays for 4 years, and you don't know who's on your team. At least in college football, they had to stay through their junior year till now, and you knew who a team was. You could watch them grow, and you knew who was going to be good. Okay, they're going to have these guys back. That was the joy of college football for me. That's what made me enjoy certain teams for a long period of time, and especially growing up, made me enjoy pro football.
Right.
Because it wasn't so, that people couldn't leave their teams. But what's going to happen is because the team players are just floating all over now, nobody's going to have any identity with the teams. They do now. I mean, I consider myself a Northwest guy with the Huskies and Cougars and Beavers and Ducks. But, man, as guys are coming in from Oklahoma and leaving to Georgia
okay, but Charlie,
and this, that, and the other.
Here's the flip side of that. The flip side is, okay, you don't have as much continuity, although NIL is kind of changing that. You had the Armando Baycots of the world coming back to college when he could have gone to the NBA from North Carolina, and some guys will choose to stay in college because the money's kind of equal, and they feel like, all right, I can raise my draft stock if I stay another year. But here's the good thing about what's going on right now. Say you have a college football program, say you have a big-time quarterback recruit, and he just turns out to be terrible. You're going to get a new guy in. You don't have to worry about who's behind. You get someone new to transfer in. All of a sudden, your program has new life.
Well, here's the thing.
I guess that's why I coach. Sorry.
But Charlie,
that's why I coach high school sports forever, because you deal with the hand you got. You recruit, you make the players you got, and you deal. I know, old man off the line, but
Charlie, what are you talking about? It's college football. The guys are there for most 4 years. It's a sport. But it's defined by turnover. It's not the NFL.
But people aren't going to stay more than a year now.
Yeah, but I mean, most guys don't start more than most guys at Alabama start a year and a half at most. And same in high school. You're a high school coach. Your guy starts as a junior and a senior. It's not like you know these guys.
Yeah, but he knows them because they're in the program, probably. From when they're in.
But fans,
Charlie, thank you very much for the phone call. Appreciate that.
Fans don't know who the offensive line is from year to year. What's the difference? Just rotating new guys. That's how the sport works anyway. How long do you think a lineman starts at Alabama? A year or two?
Yeah, 2 years probably at the most.
Right, so they're all gone anyway. So there's no getting to know player. I don't know in college football. The one thing though, the SEC, I'm telling you, the SEC is in trouble. All the teams are losing a lot of guys. Georgia lost 15 guys in the transfer portal, including
how many did they gain?
I
the two-time national champs. I mean, I can't start feeling bad for Georgia.
Well, I mark this conversation. 15 years, the SEC is the conference that's getting hurt by this because they're so good right now. They're at the top of the mountain. They know they're coming down, and that's why the coaches are resisting so much. You're right. Of course, college football is healthy, but they're not healthy. They know, and I don't think Arkansas and Missouri can outspend everybody. I mean, maybe under the table they have. I don't know.
No.
But
I mean, I don't think anyone's doing that.
Yeah, I don't think
much anymore.
Well, that's ridiculous. Probably not as much anymore. But they used to. The SEC used to probably pay more. I mean, come on, we know that, right? That's not a controversial statement.
You could never tell. You wouldn't know. You know, but you don't know the figures. Now we have a little more of the figures.
Yeah, but I think the rest of the country in the NIL world can catch up to them. I mean, TCU was in the final game. That's got to mean something, right? That's never happened before.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. My question is, I'd love to hear more from who is the college football fan who's like, we can't go on anymore. Oh my gosh, the sport's in peril. This is how I feel like when people talk about AI, artificial intelligence is coming for us. It's when? Today? Tomorrow? Do I have to run for the hills right now? Is 10 years, 15 years? Just tell me when college football is going to implode. 'Cause I don't see it.
2028.
You're calling it now. Oh, good. We have some good years left. Nice. 855-212-4CBS. Got a lot to do. You're welcome to join us. If you want to watch, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. That sounded kind of weird. Coming up, the idea that we heard that just couldn't be worse. Has nothing to do with college football. This one's of the NFL varietal. Just a really, really bad idea. We'll give that to you next. You're listening to Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. We're debating, is college football broken? Give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Or is Nick Saban just manipulating everybody and trying to get what's best for him? I guarantee that he's doing that.
Well,
that's a given.
No, but all the coaches, they sound like, oh my gosh, sound the alarm. College football is, it's on the precipice of complete and utter destruction. It's like, I don't know. I don't think it is.
I mean, come on. We know college football coaches. Why would you take them seriously? It's a sport built on a pyramid of lies, and they're trying to maintain said pyramid.
But here's the thing. It's like, then don't cry wolf about this stuff, because we all know that everyone's going to adapt, and it's better than it was listen, the pandemic threw college football into a blender. So it's better than it was 5 years ago. It's more equitable. Better? At least the players are getting something.
Okay, the system is
The system is better, and it's getting better. Anyone who thought it's going to happen overnight, that's crazy.
I think I have a couple, we didn't get to a couple issues. I don't love the fact that Alabama has to play a harder schedule than Georgia, and at the end of the year, you judge them. One of the reasons, and this is probably selfish, but a more NFL-like model will make scheduling more even. Because I think it's totally ridiculous that some teams have super easy schedules and get to the Final Four, and some teams do not. Now, I know the Final 12 will help that big time, but I still think the sport is not really judged fairly, and I don't feel like the committee really looks at that. Like, Alabama lost 2 games at Tennessee and at LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, did Ohio State really have a more impressive season than Alabama? Probably not. I mean, I think Alabama would have thumped a bunch of those teams in the Final Four. So I would like to see more parity in scheduling, and maybe that, I don't know what parity Nick Saban's talking about, but it is ridiculous that Georgia, look at Georgia's schedule next year. Like, what is that? That's a joke.
I know, but the NFL tries to have parity with schedule, but doesn't always work that way. Your Eagles had one of the easiest schedules in the league last year. Now now they're gonna have a tougher schedule this year, but you're also assuming you have most of the team back.
Right, but I mean, come on, you cannot fault the NFL for parity. They're incredible at it.
No, they do a great job of it. But again, they have a draft. They really work hard to try to get
systematically, college football schedule is ridiculous. I mean,
well, because there's another component of it, which is you schedule some schools because it's a payday for those lesser schools. You know, the Little Sisters of the Poor who come in to get slaughtered. You know, they take that $1 million and it funds most of their athletic department.
Well, right. Or from the other side, you want an easy win. You don't want to take on a hard out-of-state. Although Alabama, ironically, has this ridiculous out-of-conference schedule coming in the next few weeks. That gets into the 8-9. But just real quick, Georgia's schedule this year. UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB to start. I mean, how is there any chance they're not going to be in the Final Four?
Well,
just put them in there.
But here's the thing. It's like it kind of flip-flops because last year they started the season with Oregon. Now, we didn't know Oregon was going to lay an egg in that game, but they did try to schedule a big Power 5 team to kick off the season.
Right, but they're always going to, because of their division, they're always going to have an easier schedule.
That's true. I mean, listen, Michigan played nobody until they played Ohio State.
They played 2 ranked teams 3 teams are ranked at the time all of last year, Georgia. They played nobody. And they got LSU at home and killed them, of course. So I don't know. I just think that I think they should go to more NFL. I think the best teams should get a chance to compete for the title.
855-212-4CBS. Let's hit the phones. I asked out there, are you a fan who thinks that college football is really broken? Or do you think, like me, the sport just keeps evolving and moving forward, and it's still a juggernaut? Michael is in Michigan, is up on CBS Sports Radio. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Doing great, Maggie and Perloff. Love you guys. Great show. I just think that college football is at its core just flawed. I'd say it's not broken because it was never together in the first place. Oh. I mean, the way we do minor league sports in America is just, it's flawed by using college as the system.
Yeah.
The way they do it overseas, at least in England, from what I mean, I'm not like a huge soccer fan, but I kind of have noticed they have leagues under each other, and they're just naturally divided. And I guess you would have to uproot the entire system to fix it, and I just don't see that happening. So I think it's going to be broken, or going to continue to be broken.
Michael, thank you for the phone call.
I mean, we're the only country to have this college sports system in the whole entire world, and I understand it's awesome. But it definitely is never going to be logical. I agree with Michael. Like, logic, forget that. We shouldn't even aspire to that. We should just enjoy it on Saturdays.
Well, I mean, listen, the NBA is trying to do their own thing. They've got the G League Ignite, where you don't have to go to college anymore, and it can be more of a subsidiary of the pro teams.
Right, kind of like a soccer model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get you into the pipeline or whatever. But as you and I have talked about several times, why the athletes do that, we're not really sure.
Well,
in this era of NIL.
Right, now that so G League got the number 2 recruit in the country yesterday, G League Ignite. I don't know his name. I was wondering, why would you go to Duke and get all those TV games and start getting some massive Nike deal? It makes no sense to me.
Like, you are getting paid, but you're not going to get the NIL deal that if you went to Kentucky, you're going to get, I'm assuming.
Have you ever seen, the guy's name was Ron Holland. Have you ever watched a G League Ignite game?
I have not.
I don't even know where they are. I've never seen one.
How do I watch one? Stu, I feel like you've watched a few G League games.
I have never watched a G League game in my life.
And you watch everything.
I do. I watch a lot of sports.
So I've seen games. The Westchester Knicks are G League, right? They're on sometimes on MSG.
I think NBA TV might have a few of them.
G League games, really? I watch NBA TV all the time because they have Hardwood Classics.
Yeah,
but
do love Hardwood.
No, I don't think they show a ton of G League. Yeah,
I have the Overtime Elite app.
Zion Williamson, I think, was on 26 times at night TV. I mean, that's where you got to go.
Obama went to go watch him.
Yeah,
like courtside.
Bronny next year. You don't think Bronny's going to be on TV every game he plays?
I forgot about Bronny for a second. We're going to have so much Bronny in our life. Oh my gosh, Andy
Bronny
Enfield, get ready.
With LeBron yelling at the officials, cheering on the sidelines. Why would anyone not want to tune in for that? It's going to be the best thing on TV.
It's like LeBron was supposed to be with the Lakers on a road trip to Charlotte today, but instead he's watching Bronny play UCLA.
He'll have, quote unquote, a back issue every time USC has a big game.
David is in Indianapolis, also thinks that college football is broken. David, why?
Well, I think it's broken because I think in the long run what you've managed to do now is to cut the connection between education and sport. It seems to me as this thing progresses, it's going to get more and more expensive for universities and colleges, and eventually there's going to be a crisis about that. And you may have a handful of schools that continue to promote college football, but you're going to have all kinds of people, it seems to be, at the lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah, David, thank you for the phone call and bringing it back to the reality of, this was supposed to be about education when it started. Football especially has become, and basketball, have become such incredible businesses that the educational part of it definitely suffers, and we kind of laugh like school, we don't even really take it into account. Maybe we should more. It's just these players, the sport demands so much of their time. It'd be so hard to do a full school schedule and then also be a college football player or basketball player.
Oh, absolutely. The other point he had is this is obviously, I think he's right where we're going. The big programs are going to be fine, but I think once this becomes more like pro sports, then I think a lot of smaller programs go away, right? Like, does Northern Iowa need a football team? Just to throw I don't know. I think time will tell. I think in 15 years, you're going to have a big conference league that will totally make all the other conferences seem small.
Well, it doesn't mean they still can't play. We might not cover them in the same way, because we talked about this before about why do some sports even exist now, right? Like you play JV basketball at Dartmouth.
Well, right, but that was part of the varsity team.
It was part of the varsity team, but why does Dartmouth have a basketball team?
They actually generated some revenue.
So maybe
they were on TV.
Okay, so why does random rowing team? Why does that have to exist? Like that's a crew team that's making no money. Why does the tennis team have to exist? Why does and
they don't exist in Europe. In Europe, if you're good enough to play,
you just play pro.
But
here's the thing: it's like I don't have the answer for you, but I also don't want to see those sports go away.
Yeah, but I don't want to see football players subsidizing those sports. I don't want to see a linebacker getting head trauma and making these gigantic sums of money so you can have a rowing team. I hate that.
I know, but first of all, choice of the player to play. I mean,
well, yeah, but he should reap all the benefits. He should not be subsidizing other athletes who aren't even risking head injuries.
No,
why would he do that?
I get that, but could you do both? Is there enough money to go around where the player can be paid, but also the university is going to make money off of this too? It's not going to be 100% to zero that it's the players only get the money. Of course the university is going to make money as well. Why couldn't the university at their discretion decide that they want to subsidize the tennis team or the gymnastics team?
They could. Yeah, they could. But if more of the money goes to the players, then less is going to be left over for other schools.
You're right, but right now, like say in the NFL, it's basically a 50-50 split. So Nick Saban is talking about we got to unionize, we're going to become more like the NFL. That's still 50-50. The players don't get 75% of the pie.
Well, I mean, right now, I don't think it's 50-50.
It's close.
You're saying players in college football get 50%
No, I'm talking about in the NFL. It's 50-50 between the league and the players.
College football, it's probably like 95-5.
No, I know, but if you're going to unionize, you're still the best you're probably going to get is 50-50.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I don't think there's going to be a lot of money left over for other programs. I mean, obviously not, because that's where some of the SEC coaches were talking about that. They said if you're going to professionalize this, then say goodbye to the tennis team. And I think that's okay because, again, the players are providing the entertaining product. They're taking all the health risk. Why should they be subsidizing country club sports? I've never liked it.
Well, the other part, too, is a lot of those other sports, not all of those young men and women are getting full scholarships. You know, in the Olympic sports, maybe the very best ones are getting the full ride, but not everybody on the badminton team is getting a full ride. Generally. I just picked that one out of a hat. Nebby is in Pennsylvania. Hey, Nebby, out of the chat and on the air. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Two things. One, like Division II is able to list or is able to promote sports across the table without having huge revenue dollars from football and basketball. So the Olympic sports don't have to go completely away.
That's true.
And as far as football being broken, it's been broken since the BCS started, and this ties into Perloff's complaint about scheduling. If the conferences weren't so greedy, they'd all be still playing 8 or 10 or so team conferences playing a round-robin schedule, and we would have the winners, and then they could just go on to the playoffs like Division II does.
I've always wondered that, by the way. That's a great point.
Nebby, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Awesome call. See you in the chat, pal. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
How football has kept their playoffs, so D1 has kept their playoffs so small when every other division has playoffs is insane. Like, how come Division 2 and Division 3 are man enough to have an actual playoff where Division 1's like, no, we're just going to do it this way for a century? It's always struck me as bizarre.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. I think this is why, but it's changing. Because the television networks want a big, huge thing. Now, they want more playoffs now, which is what we're going to get. But I thought for a while, I think the television networks just wanted the big championship game and then the bowl games.
No, I think it's you're probably right. I think it's the bowl game administrators want the bowl games.
Well, we learned all about the bowl games.
I think, and the ADs were getting all this money from the bowls. I think the bowls supported it.
And the advertisers.
Yeah, but it always was funny. It was like, wait, the TV doesn't want a Final 12 where they have these massive rating playoff games. Of course they do.
Yeah. But they also, I think, like the bowls because that's it's an innings eater for them.
Yeah.
You ever watch ESPN over a Christmas break? I mean, it's all bowls.
You're right, but this Final 12 is just going to print money.
It's going to be insane.
So, and then they're going to try and keep the bowls, and they'll probably still have those on. It's just like they'll become less. They're already somewhat irrelevant. They'll become really irrelevant.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, got a lot to do. Our bad idea, the worst idea we've heard, quite frankly, so far this week. We realize it is only Wednesday. There's still time for more bad ideas. This is the worst one we've heard so far this week. We'll get to that, plus more Aaron Rodgers news. We do that all after this CBS Sports Update with Emmanuel Berbari.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
Hey guys, shake up dinner time with HelloFresh with 40 weekly recipe options. There's always something new to try. Get 16 free meals plus free shipping with code SKATE16 at HelloFresh.com/skate16. Afternoon baseball, Shohei Ohtani with 2 homers, the second longest of his career, 478 feet. Angels pummeling the White Sox 8-1 in the 4th inning. That's 15 on the season for Ohtani, and 3 coming over the last 2 days. Rangers looking to stay hot. They can sweep the Tigers in Detroit. Rangers trail the Tigers 3-2 in the 7th inning. Jonah Heim, RBI single for Texas. That's 5 RBIs in his last 2 days. How about Cubs pitching? Looking to sweep the best team in baseball, the Rays, on top 2-0 in the 5th. They've held the best offense in baseball to a combined 1 run over this 3-game set. Guardians and Shane Bieber looking to take the series in Baltimore. Guardians 1, Orioles 0 in the 2nd. Jose Ramirez an RBI double. After an 11-game losing streak, the A's are looking to sweep the Braves in Oakland. That game just getting underway. NBA, Knicks not bringing back general manager Scott Perry. 6 years in the front office, Knicks and Perry parting ways. I'm Emmanuel Berbari.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere. At home, in your car, and of course, on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM, Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You can ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply check out the link, cbssportsradio.com/askthepros, or tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Also, no questions about Al Pacino. I don't know how he's having a kid at 83. I mean, I think I know, but I don't want to know.
I understand how physically it's happening. We had a little pre-show discussion. This is a bad idea, right?
Well,
it's a terrible idea.
I don't know. Isn't what's his face also having a kid? De Niro.
De Niro. Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's kind of selfish. But whatever. I'm not going to get into it. That's not a hot take. We're allowed to say that. I mean, I don't want to talk about mortality and everything, but come on. This is not good, Maggie.
It's all right. People live now. We're living real long these days, you know? Like, if you don't make it to at least 110,
but
you're not doing it right.
But you're basically raising someone without a father, because when you need a father, he's not going to be there.
Well, he could live for another 20 years, I guess.
Hey.
He could be 102.
Hey, 98-year-old dad, do you want to go have a catch?
Hey, maybe. I mean, you know, listen, these kind of people, like actors like of that type of fame, they are like basically...
They'll hire somebody to have a catch? Like, what do you mean?
No, it's like, I think they are privy to all of the life-extending things that you can have. Great doctors, great quality of life, you know... Like, if Robert De Niro and Al Pacino can't live to be 102, what do the rest of us have a shot at, you know?
I never thought of it like that. But, I mean, I would think, like, rich moguls and billionaires, but I don't know if their life expectancy is 100. Is Warren Buffett going to live to 100?
I mean, he probably could if he wanted to. He's got the resources and the access. Yeah. Remember that weird billionaire who was taking, like, 150 vitamins a day? And was biologically turning back the clock on his own body. Why can't De Niro and Pacino do that?
You know, Buffett's 92 and he looks great. I mean, he's done
92.
Yeah, he's done interviews, and so maybe okay. First of all, and I'm not a huge fan of an 89-year-old marrying a 28-year-old, or 82-year-old marrying a 28-year-old. I mean, I don't know. That's like getting.
What do you have in common?
Like, that's like getting 100 on the test you're cheating on. Like, at least like go 48, right? Like 28. I mean, do you think
is she 28?
Well, she's 29 now, but yeah, I mean, do you think that maybe that she has ulterior motives?
I don't want to question.
You don't want to question that, Pacino. You don't need ulterior motives for Pacino. It's Pacino.
It's
I don't care. I would marry Pacino.
He's like, I want to retire, but these young women keep pulling me back in.
I mean, what do you talk about? Just go through their IMDb.
Yeah. It's our,
and then what? And then how was Scarface?
You know what though? I'm sure Pacino would just do all the talking, and then I can just listen to stories all day long. I would never even say a word. I would just like, yep, cool, and just let him do all the talking.
Yeah, De Niro, see, for me, De Niro seems a little more virile than Pacino. Like, De Niro, he's ageless because he's the toughest dude of all time.
You did not see The Irishman, right?
I thought, Irishman, yes.
They had to CGI their faces and make them younger.
Right, that was terrible, but still, an older De Niro still is menacingly terrible. You say that to his face that he doesn't look good.
I would not. I would never.
I watched the worst De Niro movie.
I saw Cape Fear, no way.
I watched the worst De Niro movie of all time the other day.
There's a few.
This one is hands down the worst ever. It was trending on Netflix. I think it's called, I might have the wrong name. I think it's called Dirty Grandpa or Bad Grandpa.
Yeah, so one of those.
He's with Zac Efron.
I imagine Samter loved this movie.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. This is why it's 2016 and De Niro's shirtless and doing pull-ups. Dude is yoked. I mean...
that's how he's pulling these 29-year-olds.
But then him and Zac Efron go on this zany adventure. It makes no sense. The plot is so convoluted and odd. And there's a lot of dirty humor, which I don't mind, but it just didn't work. But De Niro still looks incredible in this. So he could do it. But Pacino, I don't know if Pacino's been in the gym as much.
I mean, he doesn't have to. I don't think the gym's a requirement here.
I mean, if you had to fight one of those two guys, Maggie, who would it be? Pacino, 10 out of 10.
Jeffrey on the chat said, I'm out of diapers. You're out of diapers. We're all out of diapers.
No, he's going into diapers.
There's two. Everyone's wearing diapers.
Yeah, that's terrible. By the way, no, 80. I mean, our president is 80, so it's not like we should be. Obviously, ideas about age have changed. Yes. Let's just leave it at that.
We're all going to live forever.
I hope so. And I think that you're seeing people achieve more. in their later years.
Yeah.
Like, I'd watch a De Niro movie tomorrow, and he's 82.
We're just going to be sitting here, you and me, at 80 years old, just talking about whether college football is broken. And Saban's still going to be coaching.
Maggie, do you remember when we were debating the final 12, and now it's the final 63, and the players are coaches, and they're all getting paid?
I can't wait. All right, new segment we're starting off today. This is a Perloff exclusive.
The bad idea of the week.
Wait, when was it judged a Perloff exclusive?
Well, it was your idea. You get full credit for it. It's a great idea.
Okay.
You're like, this thing is a terrible idea.
Can I say this one because it gives me joy to say it? It's a bad idea of the week.
Yeah.
Okay, you're taking a, you have a football team. You have a football team. You have a quarterback, a new quarterback. Let's say his name is Derek Carr. Who can we bring in to inspire the team? I don't know. How about John Gruden? You can't bring in John Gruden.
It is maybe the worst idea I've ever heard. Like, do we not forget, or do we not remember, pardon me, that he just had racist, homophobic, misogynistic emails? Like, who in their right mind thinks it's a good idea to bring in John Gruden?
And it's not even just it's not even the content that he was stupid enough to use his Raiders email to email.
His ESPN email, remember?
Oh, no, it was also the NFL email.
And the NFL email.
Yeah, also when he was with the Raiders, he was emailing, or maybe it was Washington's NFL email. Anyway, it was insane to use work email. It was obviously a mistake that older people like myself probably made. But anyway.
Not the content you would never
The other thing is there any possible way this can help the football team? Spell it out for me how this is going to help the football team.
Okay, we got Dennis Allen. Another man inspiring tons of confidence, I'm sure, with the Saints. Here's Dennis Allen, why they brought in Gruden.
John's a guy that has a lot of experience with Derek, and Derek's had his most success under John Gruden. And so, if there's a few ideas that we could take from that, we felt like that would be beneficial.
You worried at all about backlash associated with bringing him in?
No, look, I think you ask everybody that was involved, thought it was really beneficial for a football team. And look, we're gonna look at any avenue that we can to try to improve.
I mean, how many people did you talk to? Because I'd love to know who was asked if this is a good idea. What did they actually say? And by the way, it's not a shock that Derek Carr had his best seasons under John Gruden. You had defensive coaches like Jack Del Rio and Dennis Allen were the coaches before Gruden got there.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Jack Del Rio is another host of issues. Well, okay, here's the thing. I read a little bit about this. Apparently, John Gruden's trying to get back into the NFL.
Shocker.
And he's using his old buddy as a way to float it out, see what kind of feedback it is. And apparently, radio shows are making a lot of fun of it, as they should. So maybe not yet. But you know how this works, Maggie. You know that everyone sort of gets back in. George O'Leary, remember the guy who lied on his resume? And he got back. Hugh Freeze got back. Bobby Petrino got back. Everybody Greg Williams, after Bountygate, got back. So I don't know.
Well, they get back, but not to the heights that they were at.
But for Gruden, maybe gets back as an offensive coordinator if he wants to do that.
Well, he already said, right? Didn't he say this like a year ago? He was speaking at a Rotary Club or something and said he would even take a college job. But even that, I think he's still pretty. I mean, the stuff that came out of those emails, I mean, that's pretty toxic stuff. I mean, that's hard to get past, to convince even the most cynical school president or athletic director. Like, those are going to be hard to get through. I mean, listen, we're a forgiving society. He really is sorry and enough time passes, but I don't see it.
College has a pretty wide loop to get back in.
You mentioned it, Petrino, Hugh Freeze, but
Petrino.
But the nature of it, right? The Hugh Freeze thing, that was embarrassing. The escort service that was getting butt dialed over and over and over again. Sure,
bad luck, really bad luck.
Stuff. I hate when that happens to me. The Bob Petrino, the affairs, the stuff like that, getting caught with the young woman on the motorcycle in the accident. This is different. Like, if I'm a football player, I don't respect John Gruden if he's writing these racist things in his personal email. And I know that now. And listen, you can say, well, those emails should have never come to light. That's a totally different conversation. You can't unsee it. We can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I wouldn't respect him if I were asked to play for him. I wouldn't choose to play for him.
Absolutely not. By the way, I am so sorry. I butt dial you all the time. I butt dial my kids and my wife all the time.
You FaceTime me one day over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
And I was thrilled that I picked up I wasn't doing anything embarrassing. You said it wasn't a naked gun situation. We're in the bathroom.
No, it wasn't. It was just so funny because it kept dialing me so fast over and over again. I couldn't even dial you. I remember I was walking towards the subway. Yeah.
That scene in Naked Gun, I don't know if that's a movie that I think a lot of people haven't seen, where he's still mic'd up and he goes about. That's the greatest scene of all time.
The greatest.
And the commissioner's giving his speech, and it's just audio of him going to the bathroom.
No, the best part about that is when the stream briefly stops.
And it picks up again.
They think and everyone breathes a sigh of relief, and they start moving on. It starts up again.
Oh, sorry.
Too good.
Oh, it's Enrico Palazzo.
Yeah.
So we at Dan Patrick's show, we were mic'd up all day because they filmed the look-ins.
Yeah.
The breaks. Oh man, did that happen? more than I want to admit.
What a blooper reel from the DP show. I'm sure it was something pretty crazy. Okay, who's got the worst quarterback situation in the NFL? There is a definitive answer. Perloff and I will get to it in just a moment. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're going to have a light breakfast.
Yeah.
We're going to have to really kill it at lunch. And then dinner is just going to be
free-for-all.
But you have to wait till after the draft for dinner because you can't really enjoy barbecue while the draft is going on.
No.
So that's sort of a catch-22.
I can't be like all sauce all over my face and my hands trying to use an elbow to like scroll up to see the latest pick or trade.
Last year, though, it would have worked at the number 4 pick, though. Sauce Gardner.
You've been waiting for that one, haven't you?
No, that dad joke just came out of nowhere. It was
sure?
you handed it to me.
No. This is like when Ian Eagle sat on Jawbreaker for the whole year and then finally unleashed it. Wait. That's what he told us, and you've been sitting on this one for like at least 2 weeks.
You were just talking about how you can't get sauce on your hands so you scroll down during the draft. I mean, come on, that was put in my lap. I had no choice but to spike it home.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome into the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and you on this Wednesday. A lot to do today. Got some Aaron Rodgers stuff for you. We got some Tom Brady stuff for you. But first, Perloff, from very good quarterbacks to a very bad quarterback situation. You look across the landscape in the NFL, and there are a few teams whose quarterback room is just looking really, really bleak right now.
Definitely, although I think we have to get into, is that a good thing or are they tanking?
Okay, so if you were asking me who has the worst quarterback situation in the NFL right now, my answer to you is the Las Vegas Raiders. Because of the situation going on with Jimmy Garoppolo and with the surgery that he had, not sure if he's going to be ready by the beginning of the season. If he's not, the Raiders do have the option to get out of that contract now with no penalty. But if they get out of the contract, that means they have no quarterback. And no disrespect to Brian Hoyer, for Tom Brady to actually come to the Raiders feels like more and more of a long shot. And I'm the biggest Brady conspiracy theory person out there, but that feels like a very big long shot. And it's just a bad situation, yet you're not really set up to tank.
But, okay, so why, explain the difference there. I would say the Cardinals are a worse situation because we know Kyler Murray is also in a dire situation physically. They have Colt McCoy as a backup who's okay.
Yeah.
Probably better than Hoyer at this point. But what's the difference between the two? I think the Cardinals are actually in a worse position because they have this long-term contract with Kyler.
It's not great, and getting out of Kyler's contract could be really, really hard. But at least there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want to go over the top praising teams who are obviously in tank mode.
Right.
But when they made that trade on draft day with the Houston Texans and got the Texans pick instead of the Browns pick for next year, it was pretty inspired, I would say, by the Arizona Cardinals. So they will have a second bite at the apple, in theory, 2 bites at the apple to draft another quarterback next year. What they have to hope happens is that Kyler Murray comes back just enough and plays just well enough on that ACL injury that he had to whet the appetite of another team.
That is never going. Nobody is going to take Kyler Murray's contract. There's a 0% chance.
There are teams out there who get desperate all the time, and if he plays well, listen, there is a reason why Kyler Murray went number 1 overall, and it's not just because Cliff Kingsbury. It's not just because
it absolutely is. That is the only reason he went number 1.
You don't think he would have been a top 5 pick? He would have been not a first round pick if Cliff Kingsbury wasn't there? That doesn't make sense.
He might have been top 5. The dude's 5'9". He's not.
So was
Nobody's
Bryce
training.
Young, and he just went number 1.
That's true. That's actually a good point.
And Bryce Young is more slight and not as fast.
I just think that I'd be shocked. I wish I could bet anything. There's no way anyone's taking on the full value of that contract. So what are they going to just trade him away and pay his contract for a 4th-round pick? There's just nothing. Forget it. There's nothing about trading him. If he comes back and plays well enough, then they knock out at least half of that equation of getting Caleb Williams. So you don't want that. You'd rather go full tank. Why couldn't the Raiders just go full tank? We'll see. If Jimmy Garoppolo can't go, which is why that's your worst scenario, because there's no Jimmy G, right?
Well, but even with Jimmy G, it could be a little bit of a tease because even if he comes back and is healthy, how many games is he staying healthy for?
Oh, so that's worst case scenario in a way for you.
The worst case scenario is he plays 3/4 of the season and then gets hurt, and now you got Hoyer there for like the last 5 games, and now you're in the middle again. So you're not going to be bad enough to get a top 5 pick, but you're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs, and you're in limbo yet again. I just look at this roster right now for the Raiders, and this just does not scream tank to me. First of all, Devontae Adams, first and foremost. Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow. Your offensive line has a little bit of investment in it. You still have Austin Hooper. You just drafted Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, the tight end that everyone was coveting. You got Josh Jacobs on the franchise tag. Max Crosby. You still have Chandler Jones, even if he's not what he once was. I mean, I don't see how this is a tank opportunity.
I mean,
you have too much talent to tank. What if Tyree Wilson ends up being awesome,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take time. And obviously, there's a reason Michael Mayer fell to the middle of the second round. I don't know. I'm not sure you just convinced me that there is some juggernaut there. The other thing, too, is that those guys are all great, but they tend to disappoint. I mean, the Cardinals, let's look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals have a new coach who's going to want to win, Jonathan Gannon. They have some talented players. I'm going to stare really hard here and make up somebody here.
Let's all wait.
Well,
I mean, Buda Baker asked for a trade.
Buda Baker has been so miserable there. So obviously they traded they still have Hollywood Brown, 1st-round pick. Rondale Moore, who's the guy on the other end of the pew, pew, pew thing.
Finger guns. Lucky guy he was.
They have Zach Ertz, who's about 45 years old.
Yeah, he's healthy all the time.
So they just drafted, they drafted Paris Johnson, high up, it's number 6. They definitely have some money spent on their offensive line, and they have a lot of draft picks on their defense. So anyway, there's some reason to hope. By the way, I've been reading nothing but good things about Kyler Murray's rehab. He could come back and lead them to 7 wins. I'm telling you, that could possibly happen.
The
NFC West is a lot easier than the AFC West.
And they might still have a chance to get a top pick because who knows what the Texans are going to be this year.
Well, that's what, the funny thing is, that's possibly one of the worst situations as well. And the only reason I'm saying that, and it's nothing against any particular player, but if you look at the guys who've gone number 2 in the draft lately, they've not been good.
Well, Zach Wilson, obviously, is the first one that comes to mind.
I had to list, Zach Wilson, Mitchell Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, Carson Wentz, and there's another one. It's generally like that.
Jameis?
Jameis was one.
Oh, no, Jameis was one.
It's basically
Robert Griffin III, sorry.
It's been a non-hit position. Trubisky, Wentz, Mariota. Then the RG3 was good in 2012.
He won Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, but generally, and that's actually the last one that was taken. But there's a good chance that somebody is saddled with it. And this year's Zach Wilson too. We just don't know it yet.
But I think C.J. Stroud has shown us more than Zach Wilson ever did.
Okay.
No.
I don't know. I mean, C.J. Stroud was about 3/4 as good as Justin Fields was at Ohio State. And he went 11, and has that worked out?
Well, but I think Justin Fields still has an opportunity to work.
Well, they were the worst team in the league last year, but okay. Yeah, I totally agree.
Listen, they were the worst team in the league, and the team could have just sat there and drafted another quarterback over him if they really didn't like him, and they didn't do that.
Well, I'll say one thing. Also, he is half the quarterback Dwayne Haskins was at Ohio State, and that didn't work out. So my point
Haskins, may he rest in peace, had some other things going on too.
I'm just saying he's a big question mark.
Yeah.
I think a lot of top 10 quarterback picks these days are big question marks. And Zach Wilson's not the only bust in that draft. Trey Lance was 3, and Mac Jones was 15 or 14. So anyway, my point is we don't know the bad situation. I think Jimmy G plays, and they're not the worst situation. That's a risk, but I like your scenario. You're right. If you get a half a season of Jimmy G, it's terrible. It's like a quarterback limbo.
Trey Lance reportedly taking all of the first-team snaps with San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's not a great situation either maybe not the worst, because if Brock Purdy comes back and can be Brock Purdy from last year, then you're in fine shape. If Trey Lance, hey, the upside on him is, who knows what the ceiling is on Trey Lance. And you know how I feel about Darnold. I'm not a believer. But I was heartened. I felt good about Trey Lance taking all the first-team reps. There's no reason why he shouldn't be. It would be admitting failure by the 49ers when you don't have to admit failure. It's year 3 for the guy. He's not totally buried yet.
Yeah, and first of all, the minimum, Trey Lance can run. So he showed in the games that he started that he's really, really fast. So, he could give you something. Yeah, I'm not worried about San Francisco. They just won 10 straight games with Brock Purdy, then Mr. Irrelevant. So what about Tampa Bay?
Okay, so there's been some internet video that's been circling. It's been making the rounds. Not great. Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask, both with Tampa, and they just look out of sorts.
No,
what's the best way to describe that video?
There's 2 9-yard throws. There's nothing there.
Well, first of all, it's a minute-long video. They're all in T-shirts and shorts. There's no one playing defense. There's no offensive line. There's no pass rush. They're just lining up under a fake center and just throwing the ball. Something that, Perloff, if you and I were just on a field and I was just throwing you 10 passes, I would complete 9 or 10 of them. Like, this is not difficult stuff. They were missing their receivers with no defense, no pass rush, no offensive line by 10 yards. It wasn't even close.
There's a whole minute. I've only seen 4 throws in total. There's a lot more than that?
Yeah, I've seen about 10 throws, and of the 10 throws, they maybe complete 5 of them, 6 of them, and the ones they complete aren't like crisp either.
So here's the thing. We never know what they're working on. They could be doing some different things. The receivers might be working on stuff. Who knows? It's not a great situation there, Tampa. But again, is this the kind of roster that is capable of doing the full tank? I mean, they still have Vita Vea. You still got Devin White. You still have Shaq Barrett. You've got Jamel Dean. You've got Antoine Winfield Jr. You've got Carlton Davis. You've got a really good defense. By the way, Cansey, the guy they drafted in the first round this year, is only getting Aaron Donald comps. So, good luck living up to that. And then on the offensive side, you still have Mike Evans. You still have Godwin, now fully healthy. You still have... There you go. I don't know. I was thinking.
Well, yeah, but you still have some of those linemen left. I know
you still have Wirfs. You still have Ryan Jensen.
Is Jensen definitely coming back?
I think so.
So I don't understand. I've never understood why I mentioned this pre-show. Why Kyle Trask is not viewed more optimistically. His senior year his junior year at Florida.
Yeah,
he threw 43 touchdowns and 8 picks. Now, Anthony Richardson threw about 13 touchdowns and 9 picks and went number 4 overall. So I think, I know it's a different coaching staff, but I think that Kyle Trask, he's 6'5".
Well, Trask also, didn't he have Kadarius Toney with him who went in the first round?
Yeah, but who cares? He had 43 touchdowns.
No, but Anthony Richardson didn't have any receivers who were drafted.
Yeah, but you're telling me, so Kadarius Toney resulted in 43 touchdowns?
I don't. No, he was the most prolific wide receiver in the history of the SEC.
Yeah, I assume Kadarius Toney was probably hurt half the time anyway. Yeah, but my point was he's a big, tall guy with huge numbers in college. So why aren't we expecting more? A second-round pick, that's pretty high. He's got to get a chance, doesn't he? I mean, they might as well take a risk on him this year, right? What's the downside?
Well, this is a winnable division. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, they need to rebuild though.
With that defense, I don't think so. I mean, Mike Evans could be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, man, he's a Hall of Shamer last year. He was terrible last year.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, there might be a little too much, and you're playing in the NFC South. I mean, unless you think that Bryce Young's going to be gangbusters out of the gate, or you really believe in this Derek Carr Saints situation, or you really love Desmond Ridder and the Falcons and all their weapons, I don't know. I think that the Bucs have with that defense, they have a good a shot as any to win that division.
Really? I like the Saints, and I like the Falcons just running roughshod over everybody.
Yeah, without
just full
Jared
Arthur
Bijan.
Smith coach. By the way, Kadarius Toney had 12 touchdowns in 4 years at Florida.
so he wasn't the X factor.
But no, he had 10 his senior. The year that Trask had a big year. But I don't think that's why. I think
he had 10 out of the 43. That's not bad.
Right. But I think they had a high octane offense, so that's why you can't. Who is that? Anyway, regardless, they had a spread offense. It was 43 touchdowns and 8 picks is over the top. That's like Heisman stuff, which he was 4th in voting. Anyway, I say give Kyle Trask. I say run with Sam Howell, run with Kyle Trask. Give all these young guys a shot and then get into next year's draft, which is going to be awesome. But I say that every year.
You'll notice that one person we did not talk about in terms of quarterbacks for this upcoming season is Mr. Carson Wentz. And that's because he doesn't have a team. He also should not have a home in this studio. And what I mean by that is the poster that is behind Andrew Perloff. We're trying to destroy it. Now, the problem is we can't just do that willy-nilly. We needed to make it count. So we're asking, and we're quite frankly begging at this point, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We are over halfway there. So update on the latest numbers on the YouTube channel. We are 400 away. We have already added 600 new subscribers. We need 400 more by the end of the NBA Finals, and we destroy the Carson Wentz poster live on the show. Now, what I did not anticipate happening is I thought on this show that we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. You know, I thought me, Stu, Xander, Perloff all want to destroy the Carson Wentz poster.
Nope.
Uh-oh.
And it turns out now someone's trying to throw dirt in our eyes.
Not someone. From day one. This is my poster. I do not want to see it destroyed.
I thought you were on board with the 1,000 new subscribers, and we were going to go totally medieval on this thing.
Honestly, so it's the last day of the NBA Finals, right?
Yes, but this could be a sweep.
I hope we get to $9.99 and it stays for at least another year. And then we get 1,000 the day after and keep going from there.
No. Now, what I'm really worried about is Perloff is talking about doubling down and not just making this a Carson Wentz poster, but a Carson corner.
Oh.
We can't do it, guys. Please.
I mean, part of me is intrigued as to what's going to go into the Carson corner.
No, don't do Sam. No.
I never thought of calling it the Carson corner, but now I'm into it.
Do you understand what kind of bad mojo that's going to bring to this studio? I mean, this is like one of the guy who's notoriously bad locker room guy, and now he's going to have a corner in the Maggie and Perloff studios. Excuse me, the CBS Sports Radio studios.
Well, it'd be
can't happen.
Since you have your Bills corner there, this should be the corner with the actual championship ring in it. Carson Wentz.
Yeah, because he had a ton to do with that title.
Yeah, he totally did.
Well, not in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl.
Still, he was there for 13 games that year.
Did he call Philly special? I don't think so. It was big you-know-what Nick. He deserves a corner.
What do you think? Carson Wentz won like 12 games that year. That's pretty huge.
Foles would have won those games.
No, he wouldn't have. Foles was awful when he came into the regular season. That's why it was so shocking how good. So he was 11-2 as a starter in the Super Bowl year.
Okay, well, how about this? If he had just been a little bit of a better teammate, maybe he'd still be the quarterback of the Eagles. You got a new guy, by the way. You've got Jalen Hurts now.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want Carson Wentz in my house. But it's just become a thing here. I like it. It's funny.
I'm going to be honest. I'm really torn. I mean, I want to get to that number.
It's growing on you, right? The Carson
I want to get to that number on the subscribers, but man, I'm curious to see what the corner is going to look like. I mean, are we talking about bobbleheads, jerseys?
It might.
Is it going to be a picture of you with Carson Wentz? Is it going to be an autograph, something of Carson? I think I might be Team Perloff here.
By the way, it's not just Carson Wentz.
Your imagination is getting the best of you right now. Selfies? What the hell?
I think it should open up to other Carsons as well. Johnny Carson, Carson Presley from Queer Eye.
Oh, he's taking them to a whole new level. I can't even imagine going outside the Carson way.
You guys think of more Carsons? I'm not coming up with a lot.
Carson Daly, of course.
We already have a photo of
Carson Daly, of course.
Carson Daly. I mean, there's a lot of... Carson Corner is going to be amazing.
Wait a minute.
I have a Carson Palmer jersey.
There you go.
Raiders.
Let's do it. Carson Corner.
That's Stu, you're an
Carson
addict.
City, Nevada?
Carson City, Nevada? Yeah.
Wait a minute, stop.
Carson Daly, great guy, by the way. Met him once with Darius Rucker at a golf tournament.
Man, now you got cool stories.
Carson Presley, a big fan.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. Oh, my God. Carson Corner is going to be huge.
Okay, Moist is in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. If it gets to $9.99, I'll make another account. See, that's the kind of dedication we need. We got the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers get it. I don't know why you guys don't get it.
If it gets to $9.99 and someone creates a fake account, I'm unsubscribing.
Xander!
Oh, my gosh.
First of all, if you unsubscribe, that's like a crime against the show.
I'll unsubscribe for like a day, and then I'll resubscribe.
No, don't give anybody that idea. Stop. No. We're all in this together. Stu, you're still with me, right?
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having a Carson Palmer jersey in there.
Carson Palmer jersey? Yeah. Carson Palmer in the studio, you weren't this excited about it. The actual Carson Palmer was here, nobody cared.
Yeah. How about famous explorer Kit Carson? We could have a little
famous
homage
explorer?
to Kit Carson. I'm just trying to find famous Carson.
Googling famous Carson?
It's ridiculous. That sounds made up.
Kit Carson? Oh, come on. You've heard of Kit Carson.
Yeah, what did he discover? Or she? I don't even know what it is.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Isn't there like Alaska tie-in with Kit Carson, I want to say?
You're just trolling.
Oh my God.
Nick from Texas, Johnny Carson, what's the age demographic for this show? Thank you, Nick.
So I just looked up most famous people named Carson, and the number one list was Wayne Newton. And I'm like, Wayne, that's Wayne. But his full name is Carson Wayne Newton.
No.
There you go.
That doesn't count.
Okay,
it's
here's
not
the list.
Birth certificate stuff.
Okay, so then you get Carson Daly's number 2, Carson McCullers, author, I believe, or artist or something, I don't even know. Carson Palmer 4, Carson Kressley, Carson Robinson, who looks like some sort of old cowboy type. I've never heard of him. Yeah, then there's a lot of old folks, people who weren't even around when cameras were around, but they're all going to be represented in Carson Corner.
No. If it has to be me and the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers and the rest of the Maggie and Perloff fans, then I'll take you guys all on. Just cue the Jon Snow meme of me with the sword and you guys as the White Walkers just coming towards me. Did I lose everybody with that one? Just follow me, everybody.
The Jon Snow meme? Of course. We totally know what you mean. But you're not going to be able to hold off Kit Carson.
Don't listen to Perloff or Samter or Turncoat Stu. I mean, Stu. E2 Stu?
Harry Carson, giant legend.
Oh, Harry Carson. About half of these people we could get in studio.
I mean, we could actually have Harry Carson come and hang out and just stand in the corner for an hour.
Honestly, Harry Carson, prince of a man. I got a chance to meet him a couple times. He is a true gem of a human being. I hate this. I hate what you guys have done. There's no Carson Corner. None of this is happening. We're going to do this because me and the Weedos are going to do this.
Fun fact, Mike. Carson City is named after Kit Carson, who was an explorer who opened up the West to the Europeans, which was complicated. But anyway, he's good enough to get to Carson Corner.
I mean, Maggie, you can't forget about Carson Long, former kicker for the Buffalo Bills. The Carson Long.
Yes, I can. And by the way, he would go in the Buffalo Bills corner.
He made 7 out of his 11 field goals for the Bills in his career.
Fantastic for him. Kudos to him. Carson Wentz is not getting a corner. He's getting destroyed. Who's coming with me?
Oh, how about the famous marine biologist Rachel Louise Carson, died in 1964.
You're killing me.
But
You're killing me. No Carson Corner. Okay, we got to take a break here. Coming up, Tom Brady. What is this guy up to? He seems as far away from football as humanly possible. We'll give you the update on the latest for him, plus Aaron Rodgers now rehabbing the calf injury. So we've got the latest. That escalated. We've got the latest for that. All of it. You guys threw me off my game here. 855-212-4CBS.
Was it us or was it Edward Carson, famous entrepreneur from the 1800s?
Maggie and Perloff. We're back after this.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, Maggie, I got bad news for you. We had a long discussion in the break. Me, Stu, and Samter, we're all really into Carson Corner right now.
No.
So
You guys are all traitors is what happened.
if we don't get 1,000 YouTube subscribers, then the Carson Wentz poster stays in the studio
By the end of the final, by the end of the NBA final.
by the end of the NBA Finals. Now,
Can we go Stanley Cup final?
not only does it not only does it stay, it is going to become the centerpiece for Carson Corner. It's happening, Maggie.
It's
And
not happening.
Carson Corner is awesome. Everyone likes it. Everyone is supporting it right now.
No,
Get
nobody's
on board.
supporting it.
Everybody likes Carson Corner.
No, you got to get on board with me and the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers because we're the ones who have been really behind destroying the Carson Wentz poster live on our YouTube channel. they've been with me from the very beginning. I thought you guys were too, but apparently no. You've been secretly kicking sand in my eyes on this whole thing.
You can destroy one Carson Wentz poster, but you can't destroy the Carson corner movement.
Just watch me. Watch me try.
The momentum is up.
It sounds like you're starting a religion or something.
You kill one Carson, many other Carsons pop up.
No, this is not great. Phones, let's do it. 855-212-4CBS. Chris is in Texas, our pal. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Pretty good. But I'm with you, Maggie. No way. Get rid of that Carson Wentz poster and don't even start a Carson corner.
Chris, I mean, you get it. Thank you for calling in and supporting me.
Wow.
Chris understands.
I can understand Carson Wentz. You guys aren't giving me a lot of reasons not to support Carson Corner. We love Carson Palmer. Came in studio. It was awesome.
Even Carson Palmer would tell you to destroy the Carson Wentz poster.
Yeah, maybe so, but he'd be down with Carson Corner. Or we could have Palmer Corner, too, because there's a lot of Palmers. Anyway, keep going.
Josh is in Harrisburg. Josh, Carson Corner, you're not behind this, are you?
No, I'm Team Maggie all the way. Matter of fact, I might have 5 subscriptions on YouTube. Like, I don't follow anybody, but I can't imagine the pain that you're dealing with here, so I subscribed for you. We're going to get it done.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
Josh, are you an Eagles fan? Is that where this comes from?
No, I'm a 49ers fan. That's where this comes from.
Just in solidarity. I love it. Josh, thank you. Thank you for the subscribe. We need more Joshes out there. More people like Josh. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. I'm feeling a little nervous just because I watched, the Heat just go through this really grueling 7-game series with Boston. And meanwhile, the Nuggets are sitting with their feet up, just waiting to take advantage of their high altitude home field advantage, home court advantage, whatever.
Yeah, but there is a lot of data that the team that sits for 9 days or whatever, I don't know how many days it's been, they always start off slow. So maybe Miami.
In baseball, in basketball?
No, basketball, the history is not good for the team that rests. The team that keeps playing often gets the first game. So maybe. I heard that with no actual background or data, but I actually heard another host say that somewhere, and I'm going to go with it. It's the old rust versus rest.
I think rust versus rest is definitely something in baseball because you're so in a rhythm.
Basketball would be 10 times more.
No, because guys are already hurt, banged up.
Baseball rhythm, you're doing nothing all day, and you're still doing nothing all day. There's very little difference between playing days and non-playing days.
That's just your disdain for baseball.
Speaking of which, by the way, big night for me.
Oh, yeah, you're going to the game tonight.
Going to the Phillies game, and we got to get into it later. You know Citi Field.
Yeah. It's Phillies-Mets tonight.
Phillies-Mets.
Perloff and I's team going against each other.
How much Phillies gear can I safely wear in Citi Field? For 2 reasons. One, will Mets fans beat me up? And second, these are from a New York corporate landlords here.
Yeah.
Are they going to care if I wear Phillies stuff? Am I in trouble? Can I go full Phillies?
I don't think that anyone from corporate would care because our headquarters of our company are in Philly.
Okay.
So I think that that's fine. Considering you have Aaron Nola going and the Mets have Cookie Carrasco, I think you can probably wear whatever you want to wear.
Who's that? By the way, who's that Mets pitcher last night who mowed us down?
Senga.
Oh, yeah, Kodai Senga.
Oh, that dude's nasty.
Yeah, the ghost pitch. He's just coming around now, too. It's starting to warm up a little bit.
You guys are like,
it's not looking like the disaster signing that it did maybe a little earlier in the season. So this is good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not afraid. I'll tell you guys, though, if you're going out to Philly, even a Phillies game, definitely be careful. That is not something. And I would tell you, do not go to an Eagles game in an opposing jersey.
Well,
it's really nasty.
I would not go to an Eagles game in an opposing jersey because I've heard horror stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even funny. I don't like it at all.
It's like actually not funny.
No, it's definitely not funny.
It's abusive in a bad way. But you're going to be fine now because Mets fans are feeling really good because they have a 6-game home winning streak going on. So the odds that they win tonight are probably kind of small.
Well, wait, so what is that? But I would think
everyone's feeling good.
That might be add confidence to them and say, oh, we're winning now, that we can make fun of the opposing jersey. So you're saying it's good?
No.
They're more chill?
No, I don't think that you're not going to find like overconfident Mets fans. That just I've yet to meet this person. That's a figment of the imagination. I mean, they just lost, 2 out of 3 of the Colorado Rockies. So
My favorite thing growing up, Mets-Phillies games, you go at Veterans Stadium in hot summer night, and you get two things. You get the price of watching the baseball game, then you get to watch all the fights in the crowd and see who won. Maybe 50 fights a game of drunken Mets and Phillies fans.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. You know?
I know. It's all corporate.
Yeah.
Sports are way worse.
So what are you wearing? You're wearing a hat, Phillies jacket?
Yeah. Emmanuel, can you pass that starter jacket over there? It's basically what you would wear if I was sitting in the Phillies bullpen all day.
Yeah.
I call it my
There you go.
bullpen jacket.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that it's Phillies gear, but beyond that, it's okay. It's red and white striped. If you want to see youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Mitchell and Ness. The brand.
Yeah, I don't even know where I picked up this bad boy, but I'm going to walk around the stadium and people are going to be like, oh, is he on the team? Is he going to warm up? Is he playing later?
It happens so often to you. You get mistaken for one of the athletes. I know that happens a lot.
If I was
everywhere we go.
If I was going to get mistaken for any kind of athlete, bullpen, a relief pitcher, maybe.
Maybe you could do that.
Yeah, 6'4", lanky.
No, what's going to happen to you is what happens to you every single place that we go.
What's that?
McLovin. That's what happens.
Maybe not New York.
Everywhere we go.
Not New York as much. Like L.A., yes, but we weren't on in New York for Dan Patrick's show, so I won't get that.
Plus, we've gotten recognized everywhere we go.
It's not as much in New York.
LaGuardia Airport.
I was at the Knicks game, and it was sadly not getting recognized, and it really bothered me.
And you were up close, too. You were almost courtside, right?
Yeah, I was almost courtside next to Timothy Chalamet. No big deal.
Yeah.
Who goes to the Mets game? Are there a lot of celebrities? So am I going to sit next to Chris Rock or Seinfeld?
Yeah, I mean, every comedian ever is a Mets fan. I mean, that can't be a coincidence. There's something about that team that just makes you have a really you have to laugh or else you'll cry.
Feels like, or the Jets. Both of those
Or
two.
the Jets, right. Or the guy from the White Stripes, I think is also a big Mets fan, right?
Jack White's a big... No, he's a Tigers fan.
Not Jack White. Sorry, not the White Stripes. I always get him confused with the other band.
Julian Casablancas from The Strokes?
From The Strokes, thank you. He wrote a song called Ode to the Mets.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, I don't know if
Bring
he
a
was...
tear to your eye. And the season will definitely bring a tear to your eye.
Was he a real fan?
I think so.
You know, his dad was the head of Victoria's Secret forever. Yeah.
Modeling agency.
Oh, Ford Modeling, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
His Wikipedia takes an interesting turn.
Phillies fans, you get to go see Greg Luzinski there, which is a huge thrill. But go ahead.
Vinny is in Arizona talking about the Carson Wentz poster behind Perloff that we were planning. I thought we were all planning on destroying it if we got 1,000 new YouTube subscribers by the end of the NBA Finals. Now it turns 3 out of the 4 people on the show now want to keep it to make the Carson corner. Vinny, what's up? Vinny.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. What do you think about the Carson corner? Are you with me or are you with Perloff?
I got to go with Perloff, and you got to throw in Carson Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Former Yadier Molina backup, and I'll listen to your response.
So you actually inspired me. How about Chris Carson, the former Seahawks running back who got hurt all the time?
Yeah, I remember.
Very talented. Carson Kelly. Let's see. How many home runs do you think Carson Kelly had? Looks like a nice
Not
fella.
many if it was Yachty's backup because he probably wasn't getting a lot of burn.
Oh, he's only 28, so he's probably still in the league. Yeah, Carson Kelly. I guess, the jersey will say Kelly, so how do you put that in Carson corner? It's going to be a challenge.
Something tells me you'll find a way.
43 home runs for Carson Kelly is in Carson corner. This is just It's a movement that can't be stopped by you, Maggie.
Listen, Carson Kelly aside, I do feel a little kindred spirit with the Diamondbacks, though, because we had our Super Bowl party at Diamondback Stadium overlooking the field, and it was beautiful, and we had such a good time. So now I kind of feel like I can't root for the Diamondbacks. I already have a National League team, but still.
Yeah, but you can root for Carson Kelly, and you will, because he's going to be in Carson Corner.
I will not, because Carson Corner is not going to exist.
We need music for Carson Corner. Something, I think, country western.
Absolutely not. We need YouTube subscribers to destroy the Carson Wentz poster and put an end to Carson Corner for good. 855-212.
How can we end it? We haven't even begun it.
That's why we have to squash
Put an end to Carson Corner for good.
Yeah, just even the idea of Carson Corner needs to get snuffed out.
You can't snuff us out. You can only hope to slow us down.
I will. I'm going to be like a human shield in front of this thing. Emmanuel, you're with me. You've already subscribed, right?
I've subscribed.
Thank you.
This is another example where Emmanuel has zero idea what we're talking about and thinks we are the weirdest people.
I just keep looking at your Phillies paraphernalia and thinking, if you were like a front office executive looking on from the suite.
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't mistake you for anybody else,
Okay, so you don't think I'm a relief pitcher? I look like an Ivy League analytics GM guy?
Yeah, you're like the Cornell grad who's deep into the analytics. I couldn't picture you in the dugout. I was thinking, are you a manager? Are you a front office guy? You're a front office guy that's working out the spreadsheet.
You realize that's the most offensive thing that anyone's ever said to Perloff.
No.
How dare you, Cornell? He's Dartmouth, Emmanuel. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't, take off a glove and smack him in the face with it.
I'm okay because I like this idea of nerds taking over baseball because
They've already taken over.
I could have been that nerd if I was better at math. But I was an English major. It's done nothing for me except got me on the radio.
What a waste. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're only doing a national show over here. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't have Carson Corner built up yet. Once that is achieved, then I will feel like I am accomplished something.
Yeah, finally. Okay. Coming up next, we want to get a little more in-depth in what's going on in Las Vegas. Vincent Bonsignore is the host of In the Huddle on the Raider Nation Radio. He's the Raiders reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's going to give us the scoop on everything going on with the Raiders and Jimmy G and Tom Brady and all of that. Do that next after this CBS Sports Update with Emmanuel Berbari.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
Baseball one final. Tigers held off the Rangers 3-2, staved off the sweep in Detroit. In progress, Shohei Ohtani 2 homers in the second one, longest of his career, 478-foot rocket. Angels all over the White Sox 10-2 in the 8th. That's 15 on the year for Ohtani and 3 over the last 2 days. Mike Trout also with a 2-run blast. Jose Siri and Brandon Lau with 2-run homers. The Rays rallying back, lead the Cubs 4-3 in the 8th, looking to salvage that series finale. Orioles rallying for 4 in the second against Shane Bieber. But Josh Naylor and Josh Bell, top of the 4th inning, going back-to-back with homers against Cianel Perez, and the Guardians lead 6-5 in the top of the 4th inning. After an 11-game losing streak, the A's are looking to sweep the Braves in Oakland. Scoreless game in the 4th. Pirates a 4th spot in the top of the 3rd. Lead the Giants in San Fran 4-2, top of the 4th inning. Dodgers 3, Nationals 1, top 2, Mookie Betts and Will Smith with homers for L.A. Hockey. Predators officially hiring Andrew Brunette as their head coach. So the guy who scored the first goal in Predators history is now the head coach. I'm Emmanuel Berbari.
Jim Rome here. Coming up Thursday in the Jungle, conversations with Packers running back Aaron Jones and Sports Illustrated's Chris Mannix. See you Thursday at 12 noon Eastern and 9 Pacific.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
No, 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 no. Kill them with the no. No, 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 no. Kill them with the, kill them with the, kill them with the heads high.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you on this Wednesday. We've talked a lot, Perloff, about the situation with Jimmy G and the Raiders. Find out over the Memorial Day weekend that a waiver was placed in the contract that if Jimmy G can't pass a physical because of the surgery he had on his left foot by the start of the season, the Raiders could get out of his contract with no penalty. It doesn't mean they have to, but they could. Let's go deeper into this whole situation with Vincent Bonsignore. He's the host of In the Huddle on Raider Nation Radio. He's a Raiders reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Vincent, it's Maggie and Perloff. How are you?
I'm doing great. And not only is it something that they don't have to do, they certainly don't want to do. And they have full confidence that Jimmy G is going to be their quarterback in 2023, but you never know.
Yeah, so let's dive into that. Like, how nervous should Raider fans be right now about the status of Jimmy's foot?
Yeah, and I'm still trying to kind of get to the bottom of whether or not the surgery was directly related to the injury, because I've heard more of a cleanup nature, not like reconstructive, or they, you know, that foot required surgery to fix that issue, or if the issue was something just over a course of years, you know, the accumulation of scar tissue and whatnot. So I'm still trying to get clarity on that. But as you know, as somebody described it to me today, there's a bunch of players in the NFL right now who, if they had to take a physical coming off injuries last year, would not be able to take their physical or pass their physicals. Jonathan, the running back from the Colts, is one of those players. Kyler Murray couldn't pass a physical right now. I'm doing a story on it right now, but there's a good 6 or 7 notable players that are on target, hopefully, for their respective teams to be ready to go by training camp. But if they had to take a physical right now, they wouldn't be able to pass it. That's just kind of the nature of this sport. The difference is those players are under contract and were under contract in March when free agency came about. And for Jimmy, he was a free agent. So this is his situation's similar to those players' situation. The only thing is the Raiders had to sign him to a contract. And part of signing a contract as a free agent is you want to make sure that the player is healthy. That's a big part of it. The physical is a big part of it. So Sands being able to do that because of what his status was at that time, the Raiders said, all right, we all kind of feel good that this is going to work out. Your doctors, our doctors, everybody feels pretty good about it. Otherwise, the Raiders would never signed him. So there is that comfort level. But on the other hand, the Raiders are saying, however, in order to really move forward confidently and comfortably, the Raiders said we need to put this stipulation in the contract in the unlikely, I should put it, chance that he doesn't pass the physical eventually.
Yeah, but Vincent, the history of Jimmy Garoppolo and all the injuries over the years, first of all, I think that obviously is why everyone's so nervous about this. Also, there's not a lot behind him. The depth chart is quite thin. Brian Hoyer, if you're a Raiders fan, aren't you a little nervous that it's going to be Jimmy or bust?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Although you would probably be surprised how many Raider fans are like, well, if he can't play and you have to go to Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell, gosh, you'd hate to lose a bunch of games and get Caleb Williams out of it. So, there is, because let's think about this for a second. I think on their highest end with Jimmy Garoppolo, even a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo who plays 17 games, which we all know that's not been his history, but let's just say that is what happens. Even on the highest end, and he plays a great season, and everything kind of goes right, the rookies hit, and this thing gets pointed in the right direction. I think they're at their highest point. They're still about a 9-win team, maybe 10 wins. They've got a lot of talent offensively and maybe a wild card team. And so that doesn't really, I mean, that's great. You get into the wild card and all that. And that would certainly be an achievement. And I know Josh McDaniels would love for that to happen, and Dave Ziegler, their general manager. But at the same time, it's not solving all their long-range issues, one of which is they need to find a quarterback that they're going to be able to build a team around. Jimmy Garoppolo right now is kind of a stopgap quarterback. So I think Raider fans would be like, okay, if he can't go and that's out of the reach in terms of the high end of what next season could look like. What's the worst? What's so bad about maybe losing enough games to go get a quarterback that maybe could be the next Patrick Mahomes or somebody that's going to be able to allow them to compete with the type of quarterbacks that they got to compete with, not only in their division but in this conference at a much higher level.
It almost seems like the Raiders could have just done that. They didn't really have to sign Jimmy Garoppolo. They could have looked at next year and been like, you know what, maybe we will just try to, tank for Caleb or something like that. Vincent Bonsignore is the host of In the Huddle on Raider Nation Radio. He's a Raiders reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Vincent, Tom Brady's obviously swirling out there. The news that he wants to become part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders feels a little like the playbook that they maybe try to run in Miami before the Dolphins got in trouble for tampering with Brady. Realistic? I mean, how are Raider fans feeling about Tom Brady just sort of swirling around this organization?
Well, a couple things, and real quick to your point about they probably should have done that with Jimmy G or not signed him. The one part about that is you got Devontae Adams, you got Max Crosby, you got the proud veterans who you sort of owe it to really try to be the best version of yourself. So, but there is that argument to be made. There's no doubt about it. But good luck kind of passing that along to Devontae and Max. They're not going to be real happy about that. Sure. So I think they tried to do what they could do to try to maximize this situation. As it relates to Tom Brady, one thing that people need to understand, fans need to understand is, he's right in the middle of a purchase right now that's in the hands of the NFL. We're at the vetting stage of his purchase of a piece of the Raiders, which eventually will go through all the various committees that it's supposed to go through and eventually land in the hands of the owners who will then vote on it. And in order for that to be cleared, he's going to need 24 votes to be okayed as a part owner of the Raiders. If he was even thinking about coming back, the potential of it, the possibility of it, you would think that he would have stopped. Like, they literally submitted that to the NFL about a week and a half ago. So he doesn't, and here's the key to that. If that does get approved and he becomes a part owner of the Raiders, if he wanted to then simultaneously own a piece of the Raiders and play for the Raiders, guess what else he needs? Another round of approvals from the owners in terms of 24 votes. And I don't know. I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs or whoever, any of those owners, especially in the AFC, saying, yeah, sure, come on down and play and be an owner and help that team win and beat us. That just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's a hurdle. It's easy to connect those two dots, but if he gets too far into this, it's going to be really hard for him to clear the hurdle that you need to clear in order to get back on the field. And if he doesn't get that clearance, then what he would have to do is either sell back the piece of the Raiders back to the Mark Davis, or find another willing owner, which that is a whole process in and of itself. So last time I saw Tom Brady, he was at, I think it was a wedding with Leonardo DiCaprio on some yacht someplace in Europe.
Yeah, we're doing that story next.
Yes, there you go. It doesn't look like he's like, you know what? They may need me in Las Vegas to actually go play.
No, Vincent, see, that's the beauty of this
I better
thing.
stop that sale. That's not happening.
That's the beauty of this thing with Brady. You never see him coming. You never see this guy coming. Vincent Bonsignore is the host of In the Huddle on Raider Nation Radio. Is a Raiders reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. We're just flat out of time. Vincent, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, we'll get to that Brady story. What was he doing on a yacht with Leonardo DiCaprio?
What do you mean, what was he doing? Do I have to spell this out for you?
There's more to the story. We'll get to that and so much more after this. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
If you're just joining us, Perloff is putting the finishing touches on 16 ounces of peanut butter. The man is a legend. Got the closer spoon, and Andrew Perloff, like Usain Bolt, cruising to the finish line. Last bite.
I flew way too close to the sun. Now I'm about to throw up all over the sun. Something feels wrong.
Yeah. Something looks wrong.
I don't feel well.
Ooh.
I'm glad I got through the first jar. That second jar was the biggest mistake of my entire life.
Yeah.
I was doing so good.
It took years off your life. Thank you, Ack, for correcting his grammar.
Ack, honestly, I can choose which way to throw up. I'm definitely going in your direction. So stop talking about it.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Maggie and Perloff. Willkommen on this Wednesday. So glad to have you. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and you. All right, where we left off last hour was talking with Vincent Bonsignore from Las Vegas Review-Journal, about what's going on with the Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo, his foot, the contract, everything's up in the air. What I find amazing about this is that Jimmy Garoppolo, if he turns his foot one way, if he re-injures his foot one way, it's like, well, then we'll go into full tank mode. You know, and that's a possibility that they go and tank and really try to solve the quarterback situation for the long term in the draft next year. But it's like, they could have just done that. Garoppolo was always going to be a Band-Aid here, and it's a Band-Aid with a very significant injury history. It's not like you signed the Iron Man to come over and be your stopgap quarterback. It's a guy with injury history. So you couldn't have done it before because Devontae Adams and Max Crosby and some of these veterans would have had a big problem with it. Newsflash, they're going to have a problem with it if Garoppolo gets hurt and all of a sudden the team goes in the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Devontae Adams even has a problem with it if he doesn't get hurt. He's already expressed a problem.
Fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could argue there's logic to this. They're sort of taking a big swing with Garoppolo, right? We know when Garoppolo's on the field, you have a good chance of winning. He's won in San Francisco. So they said, you know what? It's a risky move, but what's the downside? Because if it doesn't work out, then we stink and we get a quarterback. If it works out, great, we win. Maybe that makes more sense than a steady Eddie like Derek Carr.
But you didn't even get to training camp. And that's like it'd be one thing if you're like, all right, we're really going to give this thing a shot. It's the last day of May, and the Raiders needed to put a clause in the contract before the guy even signed it to say we could get out of this thing. Now that's smart to do. I'm not saying that, but this was a flawed plan, it feels like, from the beginning, because we didn't even get to a training camp, and he's already in jeopardy.
Well, what would have been a better plan?
Pick a lane.
Well, I think it's better to be in this lane because they're either going to be really good or really bad.
See, I don't think so.
No. I think if you have a Derek Carr-like quarterback, you're stuck at 7 and 10 for a long time.
Is Jimmy that much better than Derek Carr?
Jimmy G's won it like 80% in his career.
He also had, he basically is an all-time great defensive player on the other side with a great defensive line, with a great head coach. I mean, there are a couple things going in San Francisco, the weapons they have.
He was good in a brief duty in New England.
Yeah, what do you have, 2 starts? It's not a lot.
Did he have a third and he got hurt in his third?
Maybe, yeah. And then Jacoby Brissett didn't take over, and they were on the 3rd string. That was during Deflategate.
Listen, the reality, you're right. It was a great defense, but Jimmy G did take a team to the Super Bowl and almost took a second team to the Super Bowl. There's something there. That's why I'm saying it's a high risk, high failure potential.
Well, but
which is better than like Jameis Winston and win 7 games.
I know, but here's the thing. If you remove Garoppolo from this, to think all of a sudden you're going to be the worst team in the league, that doesn't make sense to me either.
Well,
because you have Devontae Adams and you have Max Crosby and you have Josh Jacobs
you
and
had
you
all
still
these
have
guys last year and you stunk.
Okay, but adding Garoppolo, you're still going to be around that 6-win. You're not going to be so bad that you could have a shot at the number 1 pick. You're still going to be in that 6-win range.
Not if Garoppolo plays, you'll probably win 8 games, 9 games. If a healthy Garoppolo is there,
you might.
But
it's not going to be enough to make the playoffs.
It's more likely that you won't have a healthy Garoppolo and you lose a bunch. I understand.
This seems like nobody could decide what the hell to do. And Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler both come from New England. And Jimmy was out there and they're like, we know him. Even though he has this injury history, let's bring him in. But I don't think the fans feel any closer to a resolution on anything.
Well, I do think you could argue, too, he's a new quarterback, but it's a system he knows. It's better than bringing look what happened to Russell Wilson in a new system last year. You don't want that. You don't want that. So at least you know he can call the plays. No, I understand. It's not ideal, but who wins?
Where's the direction, you know?
Here's a good question.
Yeah.
Which is a better situation, Derek Carr in New Orleans or Jimmy G in Las Vegas? Because I feel like I don't know where the Saints are going long term. They don't feel like they're a budding champion.
Yeah, but I have no faith in the Saints. I don't.
But why would you have faith in the Raiders?
I mean, because I like Devontae Adams and I like Max Crosby, and they've got some pieces who seem like they're foundational.
They were all good, and they were all there last year. And did they look like a threatening team in any way?
No, but again, it's like first year in the system. Derek Carr obviously did not get along with Josh McDaniels. Right. Could you have just kept him for another year? Could they have gotten better together? I obviously not.
They had an all-time year out of Josh Jacobs, and they had an amazing year out of Devontae Adams. And Max, I don't know what Crosby did last year, but regardless, they had these stars performed, and as an overall team, because they were saddled with a lot of problems from the John Gruden, Mike Mayock era. So I don't know. I'm not sure where they were going one way or the other. The other problem is this schedule is crazy. The division is crazy. So you're right, by the way. He had 2 starts in New England, but look at these stats. They're unbelievable. He had 5 touchdowns and 0 picks his entire career in New England, Jimmy G.
He had 2 rings.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical about it.
His overall numbers, he has 67.6% completion for his career, 87 touchdowns, 42 picks. He is a really good statistical quarterback, 99.6 rating. So a healthy Jimmy G is at least efficient. It looks weird sometimes, but he could be good. I think he's better than Carr. That's my opinion. Who would you take?
I think they're about the same. I think you put Derek Carr in the 49ers. I think they're probably I think he probably could have gotten him to a Super Bowl too.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll never know. 855-212-4CBS. You're welcome to weigh in on the Raiders. Now, the other part of this, yes.
We might know. Kyle Shanahan could definitely sign Derek Carr at some point, but go ahead.
Right.
Feels like a Shanahan guy.
If the Kirk Cousins master plan falls through at some point down the road, then we know Carr's there to clean everything up. Okay. So the other part of this was the Tom Brady aspect of it. And we asked Vincent Bonsignore about it. Said, doesn't really make a lot of sense because Brady literally submitted the paperwork to become a minority owner a week and a half ago. So if he had designs on playing, you're going to have these huge hurdles that you're going to have to overcome, including getting owners to sign off on Brady being allowed to play. If not, you got to sell back your share of the team. Seems like he's going down the rabbit hole in the direction of being an owner. We saw Tom Brady this weekend. We spotted him on a yacht with Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, Maggie, why does this matter?
Is it Monaco?
It was in.
Oh, it wasn't at the race.
No. It was in Greece.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was the birthday party of someone named Bert Hedaya. Hopefully, my best friend someday.
Yeah,
this yacht looks pretty sick. What I could get about Bert is it looked like he produced a movie, a documentary that I actually watched about Formula One racing that went green. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Tom Brady and Leonardo DiCaprio on the yacht for the birthday. Now, I think that's a little awkward because Leonardo DiCaprio dated Giselle for 6 years before Tom Brady and her got married and were married for 13 years. Do you think that's, if that was you, if you were in that position and it was your ex-wife's ex-boyfriend, and they had a legit relationship, they were together for 6 years, that's a long time. That's not, spending the weekend together. Would that be awkward for you?
For me, no. My wife has ex-boyfriends, and I could easily go to a party with them. It would not be a problem. Yeah, I'm not so caught up on my wives or ex-girlfriends' exes. I don't know why. It's like...
But your wife is currently your wife, so you are the ultimate winner. Now this is divorced Brady.
Yeah, but if I got divorced from my wife, it wouldn't be because of those guys. Yeah, I feel like we'd almost bond over that, right? Don't you think Leo and Tom are like high-fiving?
Apparently they were not next to each other or anything. They were not seen fraternizing. So I think it was kind of awkward.
Real quick, did Tom steal her from Leo? Was it like how close did they date? Because that has a big factor here.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline.
But like, do you have any jealousy of your husband's exes?
I might have. Maybe not now.
Yeah, once you have a kid, like, you could care less. That's about it. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I think men are still ultimately men at the heart of it.
Yeah.
And I think, not to you guys this thing, but I think a lot of men, not all of you, but I think a lot of you guys feel competition over women no matter what.
Yeah, but
whether you're dating her, not dating her, married to her, not married to her, there's always going to be a little part of you that's like, I'm better than that guy. And maybe women have that a little too, but I think men definitely have it.
But once you get the girl and you marry her, then the competition's over, right? So you don't feel competitive. You feel competitive about the next woman. I think the natural thing is to compete over available women.
Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So both of them were single on the yacht, allegedly. Would they be on the yacht competing for... like whoever is like deemed to be the most attractive woman on the yacht? Like, now that is a competition. That's a lucky check.
That's a good one. The Leo versus Tom.
Have Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Brady fighting over you? What a weekend.
Who wins?
Okay.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh.
Heard some weird things about DiCaprio.
I mean, we had the Brad Pitt versus DiCaprio as actors, but as far as like actually...
Where I stood up for Leo.
Yeah.
I would think Brady has an edge, but I don't know. Maybe because I'm a sports guy, I would think.
But Brady's been married for a long time, so his game might be a little bit...
Yeah, but I mean, was that marriage real?
I don't know. None of us are ever going to know that.
Can I say something really shallow? And I know my wife's not listening.
This entire segment has been very incredibly shallow, so we'll just add to it. Go ahead.
I'm going to say some hard truths here.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the sense of relief for Tom Brady to not be married and the sense of relief for Leonardo DiCaprio not to... I think those...
He's never been married.
When you're at that level, to be out of a relationship is such a freedom because you're Leonardo DiCaprio and you're in a relationship and you have all these models throwing yourselves at you. Right. It must be torture to be in that relationship. So the sense of freedom that Brady and DiCaprio... They definitely off-camera high-five be like... Whew, out of that mess.
I mean, Perloff, you know from experience, maybe?
I'm just saying,
I don't think throwing themselves at you.
I don't think a mid-40s Tom Brady is heartbroken as people are portraying it. I think there's a sense of...
He might be upset about his relationship ending, though. That's a failure.
Yeah, but I do... I mean, the cliche is a guy has a midlife crisis and there's a sense of freedom. And, like, typically the societal way it often works is the man wants out at that stage of his life so he can date younger women or whatever, fulfill some ridiculous fantasy.
Yeah, the midlife crisis stuff.
And the thing is, like, that's a normal man. Imagine Tom Brady. He has a choice of every model that's ever been on Instagram in his life. You're telling me that there's no sense of, something there? So it's just a different... So you're right, men are men, but those guys don't have the same... They're not being competitive because they've been turning down women.
Right.
When I was single, I don't think I ever turned down a woman once or even knew what that was like. I mean, you know how you turn down men in bars and you have to shoo them away?
Yeah.
That never happened to most of us. The guys don't know what that's like. So I just think that... No, I don't think the competitive juices flow with them because they're so used to winning. at that particular realm of competition.
Okay, so you and I have this thing, though, where I think every quarterback is underneath and not so like underneath the surface, just stone cold killer, right? Like has to be super competitive.
Yeah.
They can outwardly be friendly, but none of them want to mentor the guy behind them. They're built in this way that's very, I don't want to say selfish, but it's like, it's very competitive.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it matters if you're 7-time Super Bowl champion, if you're an Oscar winner like DiCaprio. I think that, well, let's just talk about for Brady for a second. I don't think that ever goes away. And I think you want to be competitive about everything.
But I think when it comes to dating women,
Yeah. No, I get it.
They are they have a completely different calculus than everyone else. Like they need to turn away so many women. I mean, they've had women coming up to them the whole life.
No,
and
but
they
I
have
think
to give them the Heisman.
No, I think that the two of them, though, would get competitive on this yacht.
I don't think so. I don't think.
Moist is in the chat, says DiCaprio picked up a girl at the party, and by the time it was over, she was too old for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think so.
So the other part of the Tom Brady story is not just the yacht with DiCaprio. He was seen out with Kim Kardashian.
That's not good.
What are you making of that?
That's not good.
Apparently, Reese Witherspoon, I think, was also there.
Who is Kim Kardashian?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Reese Witherspoon was a different dinner.
Who is Kim Kardashian dating?
Nobody. That's what I'm saying. I think this. Why would Brady be having dinner with Kim Kardashian if it's not some kind of romantic thing? I mean, I guess they could be friends. Like, what, one mogul to another mogul? What do they possibly have in common?
I mean, go from Pete Davidson to Tom Brady seems like quite a leap.
Listen, I mean, variety is the spice of life, Sam.
Yeah.
You get a little Kanye mix in there.
Yeah.
Now, wait, remember, I don't know, Kim Kardashian's like
all over the road.
She's part of the Trump crowd, too, and like, I don't know.
She is?
Yeah, remember she went to the White House a bunch of times on prison reform?
Yeah, but Brady's friends with Trump.
Well, was first.
I don't know. He might still be.
I kind of doubt it. But anyway, yeah, I'm saying they run in the same circles.
Right.
So, and I don't know what those circles are. Who did you say was there? Reese Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon was another, he was linked to Reese, but not, I don't know if it's true.
Wait, and also, too, wasn't he linked? He's been linked to various model types.
Well, that's always going to happen.
So what's he, you know what?
Tom, what's going on? You playing football or not? Tell us.
I just don't think everything you know about men and women does not count for Tom Brady and Leonardo DiCaprio. I think that they're competitive guys, but I don't think that they feel any real competition at that level because they don't have to compete. They just have to show up.
Weed Eater Brian is in the chat, says Maggie had to beat him off with a stick. It was rough out there.
Yeah, like you've given the Heisman to men, right?
I was always so oblivious that anyone was actually hitting on me. It was only after the fact that I was like, I guess that was what that was.
You're telling me you never gave a fake number or did any of those things in bars? Get out of here. You totally did.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just survival instincts for women.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I was trying to be mean. It was like, this isn't going to work out well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know how to push guys away subtly. It's an art form that I was on the other end of many times.
Jay in Alabama said, I'm dressed today like I'm trying to sell you a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like, do I look like I work at a Mercedes dealership today? Why? Because of the jacket?
I was actually going to ask, what's the deal with the jacket today?
I don't know. I had it in the closet.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday. Can I not wear a blazer?
I don't know. You don't usually wear a blazer. What do you guys think? Did anyone notice
it's
Maggie's white blazer?
Pads. The chat is destroying me.
Yeah, she's selling houses, or she's showing houses right now.
Yeah, just like Hillcrest Realty. Yeah, that's what's going on with me today.
I was trying to think of a celebrity.
I'd be making a better living doing that. Have you seen the housing market around where we live? Oh my goodness.
Okay, I don't know what we learned here. My wife, if she heard, like, I am not like Tom Brady. I do not want out of any marriage. But this idea, I think, I have a lot of theories on what happened with her. I think Giselle.
I love you have a lot of theories, and let me tell you about a few.
I think Giselle wanted to run her. I think Giselle wanted a new life, a different life. And I think she was too close to this jiu-jitsu trainer. And I think that something went awry there, obviously. I think Tom aspires to be a family man, but he's an impossibly good-looking greatest football player of all time.
He's obsessed with football.
Yeah, no, I just think that he probably wants to be a family man, but I think the single life is probably enjoyable for him.
Jay is also asking, can these people just BS and party like us normal folks and it not be anything but that? Clearly not, Jay. I mean, clearly not. It's DiCaprio and Brady.
I'm sure Brady and DiCaprio are doing plenty of, like, chill nights at some, back room of a bar or something, but we don't report or talk about that because who cares? When they're on a yacht with, models surrounding them, that's when it's,
that's when it's interesting.
scandalous.
Yeah. I don't care about guys' night.
Yeah.
Leo always used to drop by pickup runs of basketball around the city. Like in the 2000s, I remember everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Leo came down to this run or that run." And he's supposed to be a guy's guy, normal
and then
guy.
Camera phones existed, and it was like good. Now he had to retreat back into his, private gym.
Between the early 2000s Leo basketball runs and then, the 90s conversation we were having yesterday, I feel like we're right on point.
Yeah. As up to date as humanly possible on this radio show.
Leo DiCaprio. It's not like we're talking about Cary Grant. What are you guys talking about?
Although we did talk about De Niro and Pacino being parents at 80
You're saying
years
we're
old.
out of touch because we're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio? What the hell are you talking about?
Based off of yesterday's conversation, we're like, kind of jabbing ourselves for our 90s movie conversation, and here we are talking about Leo DiCaprio's mid-2000s basketball prowess.
I don't know. That sounds insane to me, but okay.
Weed Eater Brian also saying Maggie's too smart to end up in Ryan's van. Not true. Ryan in Santa Barbara, who does the wine tours, we already said we'd be on board with that. Jump into the van. 855-212-4CBS. Those wine tours start at like 10 a.m. I'm there. Okay. We never got to Aaron Rodgers. Got to do this. Got to get to Aaron Rodgers.
Wait, who's he been seen with?
Miles Teller. I don't know. I can't keep up. Okay. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We will get to that in just a moment. Plus, the Nick Saban sound that you've got to hear. Is he being genuine about what he sees for the future of college football, or is this just another Saban trick? We'll get to that in just moments. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Our Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today's question comes from Mike in Milwaukee. Have you seen the latest Aaron Rodgers breakup story with the Packers? Don't forget you can submit a question by going to cbssportsradio.com/askthepros or tweeting it at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yes, we did see that story. We have not talked about it yet, so thank you for putting that in. Turns out the breakup is still ongoing.
Yeah,
this is
in some people's mind.
Yeah, Rodgers clearly still chafing, and honestly, the Packers on their side too. Now, this was an Athletic article written by the guy who covers the Packers. So you have Rodgers on the record, but you do have like information also from sources in the Packers. So their side of the story, if you will, and more specifically Brian Gutekunst's side of the story, the GM, is represented. It's not like this one-sided, oh, whatever Rodgers says is right here. It's like, it's very balanced, I thought. Some of the big takeaways before the 2021 season, allegedly, Rodgers asked that either he be traded or that Brian Gutekunst be fired.
Yeah, but by the way, that came out today, but that's been out there forever.
But so apparently he asked his agent to do that. Yeah. And then when Rodgers was asked to confirm, he said, you're going to have to talk to my agent about this.
Right. That was a big headline today, but that was known, right? Don't you remember that was always, it was me or Goody. And then him and Goody had a long talk and they got back on the same page. So anyway, but that is confirmed now that it definitely made that request.
So it looks like that definitely happened, a him or me situation. And then Rodgers really chafing at the idea. First of all, remember about the missed phone calls and about when did they actually try to get a hold of Rodgers? Like, Rodgers is hanging on to this, like, you didn't do enough to get in touch with me. And he went back through and said, weeks before he went into the darkness retreat, Gutekunst said he was going to be on the West Coast, and Rodgers said, okay, we'll meet up. Gutekunst sends him a text message, and Rodgers said he didn't respond for like a day, but didn't realize the guy was like on his way out of town. They didn't have anything set in stone. And by the time he responded the next day, he says, to the text message, Gutekunst was already gone.
Okay.
So he's really trying to say, like, why would you die? Like, what Rodgers is saying is, why would you die on this hill? I'm the longest tenured player in the history of the Packers. I'm arguably the best quarterback you've ever had. That he's better than Favre. Like, why would you be trying to do this character assassination type of thing? Because there were also reports from the Packers side that Rodgers wasn't bought in. Once they gave him the $150 million extension, he didn't come to OTAs.
Right.
He wasn't doing everything that they wanted him to do. And Rodgers very much balked at that.
Okay, first of all, I don't say that it's a no-brainer who's better than Favre, because you have to realize Favre was playing in an era where you could really handle the receivers down the field. So Favre's stats were so far above everyone in his class that I think it's a hard comparison to make. But regardless, Rodgers.
Say we go by MVPs, Rodgers has got one more than Favre.
Yeah, but Favre won 3 in a row.
That's true.
It's pretty. I mean, it's not like Favre was light on MVPs. They both won 1 Super Bowl, right? Yeah. So here's my issue with what Rodgers said, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's hysterically funny and a weird guy. He said, "I'm all in now on the Jets because you see me at every OTA." So by definition, that means he wasn't all in on the Packers. Therefore, the Packers were right. He wasn't all in. So that's the bottom line. He wasn't all in. We know that. He didn't help the young receivers. So I don't even know how you make a case for him as being present for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard here, too, with Rodgers, and I've defended him also, but it is a little hard when he's like, this all goes back to the Jordan Love draft pick.
Yes,
and
definitely.
he admits that it goes back to the Jordan Love draft pick because he was upset that there was not a communication that they were going to take a quarterback. Turns out he found out from his agent. He didn't find out from the team. And he was scheduled to go on McAfee apparently and canceled it. He was upset about it and asked for more communication. And only one guy, Russ Ball, was the only person who actually kept communicating with him and tried to, help the relationship. But then Rodgers says later in the piece that Brian Gutekunst is just upset because I don't return his text messages as often as he'd like, and that I don't like communicating with him. I like communicating with other people in the organization. It's so which is it?
Right.
It's just hard. Honestly, it's like we're watching a breakup. I mean, we did watch a breakup. It's like we were talking about Tom Brady and Giselle, and Tom, is he in a midlife crisis on the yacht with Leonardo DiCaprio and all that? But we're watching a professional breakup that seems almost as personal and as, fraught as a personal breakup.
Yeah, it's funny, though. I think the Packers, though, Rodgers said, just admit it, you wanted to move on. I think the Packers wanted to move on.
They definitely did. They should have admitted that.
Yeah, well...
They should have never given him the money then.
No, I know. They were just surprised how good he got there at the very end. But at a certain point, they had to move on. So maybe it's best for both sides. Maybe it is best for the Packers because they had to start a new era at some point. And they did draft this guy, Jordan Love. It was a mistake. I think they would admit that. But once you make that mistake, you kind of have to follow through. So I think the Packers have a sense of relief not having Rodgers in the building because now they can at least move ahead. If it doesn't work with Jordan Love, they can find another quarterback.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, Rodgers is going to be gone not too long from now anyway. So they were going to have to do this.
Right.
That's my only point. It was inevitable that they were going to break up with Rodgers. And I think Rodgers is way happier in New York. It's a place that they didn't need a young quarterback to build around. They had a good young team, needed a veteran in there. Feels like both sides, if they could step away from it, it kind of ended up working out.
Well, let's see. Because I want to see what Jordan Love looks like or whoever the next person is if it's not Jordan Love. And I want to see how Rodgers does in New York first because I'm not so sure. Yes, they were ready, obviously, for a breakup here, but I'm not so sure that they're not going to wish that the grass is always greener, or that they're not going to have some type of regrets here.
Well, the Jets or the Packers? Well,
both.
I don't think the Packers regret what.
The Packers, if Love is not good and if the next quarterback isn't good, and they went from Favre to Rodgers, Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer to wandering the quarterback desert for many years, that's going to be bad.
But what could they have done differently?
Well, they could have just kept Rodgers for the next 2 years and maybe tried to win another Super Bowl. And
Rodgers is what is he, 39 now, turn 40 next season?
Okay, but the Jets have these high hopes that he's going to win a Super Bowl. So
right, he's got a 1 or 2 year window, and the Packers need to look way longer than that, I think.
Well, the other part, too, is about the Jets, which is this is the definition of a honeymoon period. I mean, He's saying now, the Jets already have, are better communicating and all of that. I mean, the Jets... Maybe they've turned this massive corner. This is not a franchise that we have held up as the model of stability in the NFL. It takes 2 seconds for things to go wrong in that organization.
Yeah, you're right. But don't you admit, though, that Rodgers is a better fit in New York than he is in Green Bay?
I don't know. I mean,
where's Green Bay going? They know they can.
Green Bay's still a young team.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
A young, talented team, so are the Jets.
Yeah, but Green Bay knows as a stone-cold proven fact they are not going to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. You know why? They had the number 1 seed the last 2 years and did nothing in the playoffs. So what, was that going to just keep on doing that till the end of time? I mean, they were not going to win. I don't think they were going to win with him.
listen, you keep drafting guys, you keep changing your roster, tweaks, people get healthy. You never know.
He's going to turn 40.
I know, but how many people are going to pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl?
Well, regardless, the Jets are in the same position. If it doesn't work with Rodgers, what's the difference? They're just where they had Zach Wilson before. They're going to have to figure out something at some point. I think it's not that big a risk. I mean, Rodgers is not going to sink this franchise, is he?
He's not going to sink it. No, it's just to think that this is going to go smoothly for both sides,
Right.
and the Packers are going to ride off to the sunset, and Rodgers is going to ride off into the sunset. Forgive me, I'm a little skeptical that that's going to work out all like it's a storybook.
Right, but the Packers had no choice. At some point, Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. He's not going to play to 46.
Yeah. Are you sure?
I don't think he's going to do that. I don't know.
855-2124-CBS. Let's go to Joe is in Oregon. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing great.
What's on your mind, bud?
Oh, I've got the answer to all your prayers. Some of them.
Okay. That got Emmanuel's attention.
I like your show so much. I watch it, pretty much 3 hours a day, and it gives so much to me. In knowledge and information and just laughter. You guys are so fun.
Oh, go on.
I've got to give something back. So I'm going to create 10 email addresses, and I'm going to subscribe. I've already subscribed once, but I'm going to subscribe 10 more times.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to do my part. So I think everyone else can. For all that we get from you, we should all be able to do something simple like this. For you.
Joe, thank you. That did answer some of my prayers. If people are out there, and I appreciate the support and everything, if people are out there and they are incredibly confused by why Joe would be creating 10 new email addresses to help out the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. If we get 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the NBA Finals, we're going to destroy the Carson Wentz poster that's behind Perloff. Now, we are 390 subscribers away. And Perloff has decided this is the right time to all of a sudden start going negative on the Carson Wentz thing. And now you want to do your own thing and start your own Carson Wentz thing.
So, I mean, I think it's positive on Carson Wentz. I want the Carson Wentz poster to survive. Not only that, I want it to become the cornerstone of Carson's Corner, a new addition to the Maggie and Perloff studio. That it's interesting. Joe was calling from Oregon. Did you know that famous explorer Kit Carson discovered much of the Oregon Trail? So he would fit great in Carson's corner.
And Joe doesn't want that either. And nobody else in Oregon wants that either. They want the Wentz poster destroyed like we promised if we got the 1,000 subscribers.
Okay. Say we do destroy the Carson Wentz poster. Can we still do Carson's Corner? Why not?
Carson Wentz can't be in it.
What says who?
He's the bad vibes in the studio. That's how this whole thing got started. Nobody wanted to be around this Carson Wentz poster.
I thought it was that particular poster. You're saying all Carson Wentz things?
Anything Carson Wentz, he's bad mojo. We can't have it in the studio. And every other Carson that would, in theory, be in this corner has to be reviewed by the committee, and it has to be a unanimous decision by the committee that this Carson is a fine enough Carson.
So how about this as a compromise? Because I think we all want Carson's Corner except for Maggie, but we all also want the 1,000 subscribers. So why don't we do a thing where, like, kind of hedge, right? If we don't get it by the end of the finals, Carson's Corner exists until we get to that 1,000.
No, okay.
Or we keep raising the number, add interest.
No. 1,000 subscribers, the Wentz poster then gets destroyed. Listen, I've been running
So what happens if we don't get it? Then Carson just stands there behind.
Well, that's why the stakes are so high. But here's the thing. I've been running all these things through HR. We already learned this with the peanut butter thing.
Harold Reynolds?
Yes. I talked to Harold Reynolds about web gems. No, we have to get all these things approved. I started talking about lighter fluid, and everybody got real upset. So all of the golf clubs and the lighters and the shredder and all that stuff has to be approved. I'm already doing the legwork on all this, and now you guys want to come in and you want to change it and you want to stop doing it.
All right. First of all,
it's only if we don't get. Listen, if we get to 1,000, it happens. It's just if we don't get there, we have to create the corner.
Larger Park said no hedging.
How about this? If we get to 1,000, we destroy the Carson Wentz poster, but then I get a chance to raise YouTube followers to support Carson's Corner.
You can do whatever you want to do after we get the 1,000 to subscribe.
Now, half the studio is my stuff and half the studio is your stuff.
Yeah.
And I've had no say of this garbage that you put up there. You have the loserous franchise. You have the Mets and the Brooklyn Nets.
That was a gift from the Nets.
And the Bills. The Bills, actually, I like, but they've not won anything. The Mets are a disaster. The Nets are a ludicrous joke. At least I have.
And the Rangers also sent me something, which is funny now because I'm not allowed in the building.
Yeah,
but
I got the Mighty Ducks.
In happier times, they did send me a Rangers jersey.
I have the Mighty Ducks. I have the Minnesota Vikings Minneapolis Miracle jersey.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz and a basketball signed by the 1987 Philadelphia 76ers.
You've got Charles Barkley calling out your tweet live on Inside the NBA on TNT.
For Charles' favorite show. I got my signed football from Sully.
Right, I think
Jim
I
Kelly
control
football.
my half. And if I want to put
the correct way,
if I want to put Carson's Corner on there, I think I should have the right to put Carson's Corner. Now, the Wentz issue is something else, but other Carsons, why can't they get their day in the sun?
Well, I'm telling you, all the other Carsons have to be approved by the committee because I don't want you to sneak Carson Wentz back in here.
Oh, boy. What if I could actually get Carson Daly and Harry Carson in on the same day to christen Carson's Corner?
I mean,
that'd be pretty awesome.
I do like Harry Carson. I've never met Carson Daly. You rave about him.
Yeah, based on the fact that he's on TV 7 hours a day and seems like a nice man. Yeah, there's lots of Carsons. I think, all right, well, first we'll focus on getting to 1,000 and getting rid of this Carson Wentz poster. Then Carson's Corner will be a separate issue. But I think it's going to happen, Maggie. I'm sorry.
Not if the Weedos, the Purple Drinkers, people like Joe in Oregon, Manuel, forget Samter, forget Stu. You guys are out.
Oh, man, your bias against Carson as a name, it seems completely unfair. I think we have an affiliate in Carson City, Nevada, too. Maybe they'll circle
They'll be okay.
Actually, I have no idea. I've never gotten...
We might be on in Carson City. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Jim said Maggie should start Allen's Alley. We're well on our way.
So why do you get Allen's Alley?
Because Josh Allen is good vibes. Carson Wentz is bad vibes.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey,
There's so many good things.
13-second spot.
So many good things happen around Josh Allen. Yeah, those are great vibes.
Meanwhile,
I mean, listen, it's been like one disaster after another in Buffalo.
And I'm worried about, do you see, we're talking about famous people and people being married to famous people and dating famous people.
Yeah.
Do you see Josh Allen? Now dating Haley Steinfeld. Disaster.
I'm sorry,
He's going to be in L.A. now. He's going to be all Mr. Hollywood.
There's no way. I don't care if he's dating 3 Kardashians. Nothing. Last year was nothing but bad karma piled on Buffalo day after day after day. So it can't get worse, Maggie.
That is true. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Come with me, Weedos, Purple Drinkers, followers of Maggie and Perloff. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We can do this. By the end of the finals, we need 1,000 new subscribers. All right, we got a lot more to do, including this story just came across. We'll get to that in just a moment. We'll do it after this CBS Sports Update with Emmanuel Berbari.
Sports Flash.
And guys, we're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com. Angels dominated the White Sox 12-5. Shohei Ohtani with 2 homers, 3 over the last 2 days, 15 on the year, and his second today, a career-high 478-foot blast. Tigers edged the Rangers 3-2, staved off the sweep in Detroit. After scoring only 1 run in the first 24 innings of this series, Jose Siri, Brandon Lau with 2-run homers in the 7th and 8th. Rays avoided a sweep at Wrigley, rallied for a 4-3 win. Back and forth twists and turns, rubber game in Baltimore. Guardians 11, Orioles 8, bottom of the 7. Josh Naylor 4 for 5, 6 RBIs. He has a 2-run homer and a 3-run triple. Braves looking to avoid a sweep in Oakland. A's beat him twice after an 11-game skid. Atlanta with a 4-2 lead in the bottom of the 8th. Pirates blowing it open in San Fran. It's the Pirates 8, the Giants 4 in the bottom of the 7th. Nationals just grabbed a 5-4 lead over the Dodgers in L.A., bottom of the 5th inning. I'm Emmanuel Berbari.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, and you hanging out on this Wednesday. This Carson Wentz thing is just taking over the show. I see Zach Gelb here. Zach is not going to be happy with these latest developments with these three traders. Now they want to keep the Carson Wentz poster, and they want to go even further and make a Carson corner.
Carson's corner.
Pardon me. Sorry, my grammar.
And
grammar
the nickname for Carson's corner is going to be Carson City too. It's interchangeable.
What do you guys have? Are you guys planning this out in the breaks? You have a meeting or something without me?
Well, I don't know. There's just a lot of likable Carsons and some unlikable ones.
This all started with an unlikable Carson.
I think that most people are more neutral on Carson Wentz. If you actually never had to root for a team that he played for, what's the big problem with Carson Wentz?
He was giving off bad vibes in the studio. Cindy is in Arizona. Cindy, whose side are you on, me or Perloff?
I'm kind of neutral. I just feel like destroying the poster might give Maggie some, Zach too, because he didn't like sitting in front of that poster. But I think that you should go ahead and donate the poster with your contribution to the Boys and Girls Club to the North Dakota Boys and Girls Club.
Ooh.
And that way it wouldn't get destroyed, but Maggie wouldn't have to deal with it any longer, and it would go to some kids that it might inspire.
Oh,
right,
no,
and they
not the kids.
They love Carson
Don't bring the kids into this, Cindy.
That's a beautiful idea, Cindy. Thank you.
Punishing them?
Hold on, Cindy. You're a doll. Thank you so much for that. That was incredibly sweet. But here's the thing: not on my watch. This is when Maggie gets medieval. Now we've already promised the donations to the Boys and Girls Club of Fargo, and to Philly, and to Indianapolis.
Yep.
And we're going to make good on those, and we promise that those are going to happen. We should probably do that probably by tomorrow. Okay, so that's going to happen. And we'll let you guys know exactly what's going on. But the children get something else. That Wentz poster, that's for me.
Right now, there's a little kid in Fargo, North Dakota who's saying, Daddy, I want to be an NFL quarterback today, but there's no quarterbacks from here. And I don't know if you could do that from Fargo, North Dakota. It's so cold.
No.
Look up at the wall, son. That young man with red hair, he did it, and you can do that.
No.
And you can get a lot of big paychecks.
Listen, Trey Lance has taken first-team reps. Let's get to our Casamigos shot of the day.
He's from Minnesota.
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Again, Carson's Corner took over the show today. I'm powerless against it. I thought me, Stu, Samter, Perloff all want to destroy the Carson Wentz poster.
Nope.
Uh-oh.
This is my poster. I do not want to see it destroyed.
Perloff is talking about doubling down and not just making this a Carson Wentz poster, but a Carson Corner.
Oh.
We can't do it, guys. Please.
Part of me is intrigued as to what's going to go into the Carson Corner.
No, don't do Sam. No.
I think it should open up to other Carsons as well. Johnny Carson, Carson Presley, Carson Daly. Carson Corner is going to be amazing.
Wait a minute. Stop.
How about,
seriously, stop.
How about we have a Carson's Corner and the Wentz Wheelhouse, which will be over here. It'll be a circle area.
the middle part where the desk is? Here?
Yeah, and you'll have...
Can you even see that on the live stream?
We'll have that musician, Pete Wentz.
Zach Wheeler?
Fall Out Boy.
Are you doing with the Wheeler or just a Wentz thing?
No, well, you can get that into. But...
Listen, not Zach Wheeler. Not the big mistake that the Mets made letting him go to the Phillies, please.
We have to go back. Everything I've been hashtagging is Carson Corner. We're going Carson's Corner, like apostrophe S?
I was thinking about that,
possessive?
Yeah. Carson's Corner.
Oh, okay. We have to change all that.
And there's, I've been looking around the web. There's
Serves you right.
Carson.
More work for you because you went negative on the Wentz poster. So, yes, go change every hashtag. Maggie and Perlon.
There's a lot of places called Carson's Corner Pizzeria and different sandwich shops around the country. I desperately need a Carson's Corner T-shirt. Can't find one yet, but I will. And that'll go in Carson's Corner. But the Wentz Wheelhouse, there aren't a lot of famous people named Wentz.
The Wentz Wheelhouse.
We got Pete Wentz and Carson Wentz, and that's about it.
It's going to be a really sad wheelhouse. Just like your sad corner, too.
Oh, there's someone named Eli Wentz. Oh, boy, forget it. Yeah, no.
Don't start Googling random people on the internet.
Carson's Corner, I'll be happy as long as I get that. I don't need Wentz's wheelhouse.
We're not getting Carson's Corner either. Help me. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Like Joe in Oregon, who created 10 email addresses just to subscribe 10 different times. It's that kind of dedication we're going to need to get this Wentz poster destroyed. I mean,
Okay.
I've sent 15 emails about this thing, and now you guys just want to let it all go to waste.
I don't understand. You keep adding rules, though.
What do you mean?
So now there can be no Carson Wentz stuff in the whole studio?
I said if you're doing a Carson's Corner, all Carsons must be verified by the committee. And it must be a unanimous vote about whether they can go in the Carson's Corner.
What committee?
The committee. Thank you, Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Vincent Bonsignore, who joined us earlier in the show. The Weedos, the Purple Drinkers. We appreciate you. Again, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.